A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. For Jerry of the Circus.
Mr. Randall.
Who is it?
It's Jerry, Mr. Randall.
Oh, come in, Jerry.
Come on, Rags.
Good morning, Jerry. Rags?
Good morning, Mr. Randall. You sent for me?
Yes, Jerry, sit down. It's about last night. You're going on in place of Johnny Bradley and doing his act.
Well, golly, Mr. Randall,
Just a minute, Jerry. I guess it wasn't altogether your fault, but there are a few things about this show I want you to know.
But I just...
You just let me do the talking for a minute. I sent for you because I want to explain something to you.
Yes, sir.
Now, in the first place, I'm the boss of this show, and anything that's done on this lot has to have my okay. It has to be that way. If everybody in the circus wanted to change his act or let someone go on for him, and he went ahead and did it without telling me about it first, well, it just wouldn't be any time until I wouldn't have any show at all.
Yes, sir.
You know by now, Jerry, that everything goes off like clockwork around a circus. There can never be a slip-up. It might throw the whole routine off.
I know that.
If there has to be a change or a substitution, I should know about it, so I can tell the different ones that it might affect. No one in this outfit is allowed to take it upon himself to do anything but his own work.
But you weren't around, and, well, something had to be done quick because Mr. Bradley couldn't go on.
Yes, I heard he was sick, and that part is all right. Besides, I've heard some excellent reports on your work. Your taking Bradley's place last night was all right, but I want you to understand that I'm to be notified of any changes made in any part of the show from now on.
Yes, sir.
A couple of the boys told me you make a pretty good clown. They said you did the act just as if you'd been doing it for a long time.
They said that?
Yeah, I guess you did very well. How'd you learn that routine so fast, Jerry?
Well, I don't know. I guess I knew it pretty well from just watching.
Well, you're going to turn out to be a real trooper someday. The circus needs wide-awake young men like yourself. It's plain to be seen that if you keep your eyes and ears open, you'll get a long way, Jerry. You just keep watching the acts.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Randall.
Now, getting back to Johnny Bradley, what do you know about his being sick?
Why, nothing. That is, well, all I know is that he gets fainting spells.
Fainting spells?
Uh-huh. Bump said he thought he had a weak heart.
Well, funny I haven't been notified of this. Guess I'll have to look into it myself.
He gets weak and shaky, and he can hardly walk.
That's not so good. I think I'd better look him up right away and have a talk with him. Are you going over toward your wagon?
Uh-huh. Come on, Rags.
Hey, always ready, aren't you, Rags?
Then you're really not mad at me for last night, are you, Mr. Randall?
Why, no, Jerry. I just want you to understand about making any changes without telling me first. As a matter of fact, you did such a good job of substituting for Johnny last night, I think I'll make you an understudy for all the clowns.
An understudy? What's that?
Well, an understudy is a person who watches and learns other people's acts so that in case of emergency, he can go on and take their place.
just like I did last night, huh?
That's it, Jerry.
Golly, thanks, Mr. Randall. I'll watch all the acts and learn them real good.
That's a boy.
Jerry.
Oh, there's Jason, Mr. Randall. He's calling me.
Come here, Jerry.
Well, all right, run along and see what he wants. I'll see you later, Jerry.
Okay. Goodbye. Come on, Randall.
Good morning, Mr. Randall.
Oh, good morning, Slim. Johnny around?
Yeah, boss. He's in his wagon.
That's good.
Come in.
Good morning, Johnny.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Randall.
Where's Slats and Hooligan?
Why, they went uptown after breakfast to do a little shopping.
Good. I want to have a little talk with you, Johnny.
Sit down, Mr. Randall.
Thanks. Now then, I understand you're not feeling so good.
Oh, it's really nothing. I just had a bit of a weak spell.
It's happened more than once, hasn't it?
Well, yes, it has, Mr. Randall.
Is it your heart, Johnny?
I'm inclined to think it is.
Not very good business working with a weak heart.
Well, but I've got to go on working, Mr. Randall.
Well, I don't know anything about your business affairs, Johnny, but you've been getting a very nice salary from me for many seasons now, and, well, nothing personal, mind you, but you're getting along in years, and I should think that perhaps you might have some money put aside so you can take it easy now.
Well, that's just it, Mr. Randall. I haven't been able to save anything for myself.
That's a shame. Well, as I said, nothing personal. I like you and I like your work. Your act is as clever as any I've ever had, but, well, I just can't have a sick man working in the show.
You're not going to let me go?
You're not being fair to yourself going on working. The work you do isn't especially easy, and, well, you're just killing yourself.
But I've got to finish the season. I can't quit now. It's for my boy, Mr. Randall.
Your boy?
Yes, sir. You see, ever since I started working for you, I've been sending him the biggest part of my salary. Oh, he's a good boy, Mr. Randall, and deserving of it.
Well, can't he take care of himself?
I've been putting him through law school.
Oh.
He passed the bar examinations only a couple of months ago, and I'm helping him along with his office now.
Oh. Yeah, this puts a different light on it.
Oh, you see, sir, well, I'm trying to do all I can to help him get a start in life.
Well, that's fine, Johnny.
I've never told you this before, sir, but I was a star in my own right on Broadway. Why, I've operated my own stock company. I really amounted to something in the show world at one time.
That's so.
My boy doesn't know I'm with the circus. He thinks I'm still in the theater and doing well. For reasons I'd rather not go into, I had to leave the theater, so I took to the circus. In my letters to him, I've given him the impression that I can well afford to send him through school and pay the expenses of his office until he becomes established.
Now, where is your son, Johnny?
In Jackson City, sir.
Jackson City? Why, we play there soon. Won't you see him?
Well, not if I can help it, Mr. Randall.
You're a funny fellow, Johnny. Your old heart may be weak, but it's certainly not selfish.
No, sir. Won't you let me go on? Just until my boy can get along without me.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Johnny. You can stay on, but I want you to promise me that you won't do your act unless you feel up to it. If you feel the least bit ill, I want you to report to me, and I'll see that you won't have to go on. Will you promise me that?
Oh, yes, sir. I will, sir, and thank you, Mr. Randall.
You get as much rest as you can, and above all, don't worry. There's no doubt that boy of yours will make good. I can tell he comes from mighty fine stock.
My everlasting gratitude, Mr. Randall.
All right, Johnny. Take it easy now. See you later.
Goodbye, Mr. Randall, and thank you again, sir.
Goodbye, Johnny.
Mr. Randall,
Oh, yes, Jerry?
look what Jason's got.
I'll be right with you.
We got a surprise for you, Mr. Randall.
Another mouth to feed.
Well, what's this? What do you mean, Jason?
Well, Jerry and I just got this crate down at the railroad station.
It's a lion cub.
Well, you don't say.
O'Malley back at the winter quarters sent this cub on to me. We're just going to uncrate him.
Well, let me look through that crate there. Hey, he's a cute little fellow, isn't he?
Aren't you going to wait until we uncrate him?
I'm sorry, Jerry. I got a lot of business to attend to. I'll see him later. Remind me to come over and have a look at him, Jason.
Okay, Mr. Randall. Hand me that screwdriver there, Jerry.
Okay, here you are. Want the hammer, too?
Mm-hmm. Now let's see.
Poor little thing. He wants to get out all right.
We'll have him out in a minute.
Oh, you'd like to play with him, huh, Ray? Where are you going to put him, Jason? In with one of the big lions?
Not in your life. This little fellow's going to have a nice little cage all by himself. Yeah, there we are. Out you come.
What's his name?
Don't know that he's got a name yet, Jerry. O'Malley didn't mention it in the letter he sent to me the other day.
Well, what are you going to call him?
Well, we'll have to name him ourselves, won't we?
Do you name all of your animals?
Most of them. Of course, some of them already had names when I got them.
Can I name this one?
Well, sure, if you want to, Jerry. Have you got a name for him?
Well, no, but I bet I can think of a good one.
Well, what's it going to be?
Well, How about Fuzzy?
Fuzzy?
Yeah, 'cause his fur is so fuzzy.
Do you hear that? Your godfather, Jerry Dugan, does hereby decree and bestow upon you the name Fuzzy.
Isn't he cute? Golly, thanks for letting me name him.
Well, Rags, getting jealous, huh? Are we paying too much attention to our new pal, Fuzzy?
Never. You told me I could start training the little cub sometime.
And you'd like to start on Fuzzy, hmm?
Is he too young to teach tricks to?
Oh, I guess not. We can start with a few simple things, like just getting him used to commands.
What's the first thing to do?
Well, we can teach him to sit up. Might even see if he'll jump through a hook for a nice piece of meat. But first, let's teach him and put him in the cage over there. Poor little fella's been in that crate so long, we'll have to let him stretch his legs for a while. There, open the door, Jerry. There you are, Fuzzy. There's your new home. That's the fella. Sniff around a bit and get your bearings.
He acts just like a little kitten, doesn't he?
Well, he does now, but it won't be long until his fur stands up and he declares himself.
Quiet, Rags.
Rags is acting more like a wild animal than Fuzzy.
You know, Jason, I don't see how you can take a real wild jungle animal and make him tame.
Tame? Well, you wouldn't call any cats of mine tame, would you?
Oh, I guess I didn't mean that.
No, you meant manageable, Jerry.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, as I've told you before, it takes a lot of patience. The first thing a jungle animal thinks of is to strike out. Fear is unknown to them, and it takes a long time to teach them that they have a master.
You have to show them that you're the boss, don't you?
That's it, Jerry. But you have to do it with both kindness and patience.
But never cruelty.
That's right.
Hi, Jason.
Hello, Sid. What's on your mind?
I got the mail, Jason. Here's a letter for you.
Thanks.
Any for me?
Oh, this is Jerry Dugan, Sid.
Dugan, let me see. Yep, here we are.
Golly, thanks, mister.
Well, who's it from, Jerry?
Let's see. Lakeside Hospital. Oh, it's from my Uncle Dan.
Oh, fine, Jerry. Gee, that's great.
Here's another one for you, son.
Another one?
Well, a popular boy, huh, kid?
You bet he is. That's all. So long.
See you later, Sid.
Goodbye.
Who's the second one from, Jerry?
Oh, that's from the bank.
The bank?
Uh-huh. They were going to find out about the key I have to Dad's safety deposit box.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Well, aren't you going to open that one first and find out if they've located the bank where your safety deposit box is?
Golly, I don't know which one to open first. They're both important.
Well, go ahead and see what your Uncle Dan has to say.
Oh, okay. Should I read it?
Sure, go ahead.
My dear Jerry, you'll most likely be waiting to hear from me. But until today, I haven't been able to do much with a pen. As I write this, I am in a wheelchair, and believe me, it feels pretty good to be out of bed for a while. The doctor says I'm getting along fine, and in a few days he is going to let me try to walk.
Oh, say that's fine.
Golly, I'll say. I hope everything is going along all right for you. Give my regards to Bumps and Mr. Randall and all your friends with the circus. I'm anxiously looking forward to the day when I can join you. However, I will write you again before I am dismissed from the hospital. If you find time, I would like to have a letter from you. Hoping to see you soon, Uncle Dan.
Oh, that's a fine letter, Jerry. You going to answer it?
You bet. I'm sure glad he's getting better.
It won't be very much longer before he'll be with us. Now, how about the letter from the bank? It's pretty important that you find out where that safety deposit box is.
I think I'll wait and let Patsy open it. There might be something real important in it.
From Hollywood, California, and in the Live Bay somewhere in the Pacific, Autolite brings you Everything for the Boys, the Command Theater of the Air, starring Mr. Ronald Coleman and his guest for tonight, Miss Dinah Shore. Everything for the Boys is presented by the Electric Autolite Company and its 22 great manufacturing plants. Builders of precision equipment for 35 years. World famous for Autolite spark plugs, batteries, wire, cable, and electrical systems for automotive, aviation, and marine use. And now, here is your host, Ronald Coleman.
Thank you and good evening. Our guest tonight is the popular singer and actress Dinah Shore. We present Arch Oboler's original radio drama, The House I Live In, suggested by the song by Earl Robinson and Lewis Allen. After the play, we'll talk by shortwave with 2 American soldiers at an island base in the South Pacific. To them and to all the fighting men and women of the United Nations, we dedicate this global half hour.
Our national war effort is made up of the personal war effort of every worker. The more we do individually, the quicker the final victory. And that's the spirit of thousands of men and women in Autolite plants in the United States and Canada. Take the collection of waste paper as an example. Autolite people know how important it is to salvage waste paper. The many items of munitions and ordnance they manufacture are packed in paper containers and wrappings. To help overcome the shortage, a planned drive brought in more than 88,000 pounds of paper at one Autolite plant alone. Buying more war bonds, contributing to the Red Cross, donating to the blood bank, their stay-on-the-job attitude are other shining examples of their eagerness to do a little more to help win the war. Yes, with Autolite men and women, it's a personal war. Won't you join them by doing just a little more toward building a free world, a better world? Now, Mr. Coleman again.
Memorial Day, 1944. Ladies and gentlemen, a few words from the late Stephen Vincent Benet, American poet and patriot. What do the people say? Well, you've heard some questions and some answers. Not all, of course. No man can say that's all. A man's a humbug if he says that's all. But look in your own minds and memories and find out what you find and what you'd keep. It's time we did that, and it won't be earlier. I don't know what each one of you will find, what memory, what token, what tradition. It may be only half a dozen words carved on a stone, carved deeper in the heart. It might be all a life, but look and find it. Sun on Key West, snow on New Hampshire hills, warm rain on Georgia, and the Texas wind blowing across an empire, and all part, all one, all indivisible and one. Find it, and keep it, and hold on to it. For there's a buried thing in all of us, deeper than all the noise of the parade, the thing the haters never understand and never will, the habit of the free. Out of the flesh, out of the minds and hearts of thousand upon thousand common men, cranks, martyrs, starry-eyed enthusiasts, slow-spoken neighbors, hard to push around, women whose hands were gentle with their kids, and men with a cold passion for mere justice. We made this thing, this dream, this land unsatisfied by little ways, open to every man who brought goodwill, this peaceless vision, groping for the stars. Not as a huge devouring machine rolling and clanking with remorseless force over submitted bodies and the dead, but as live earth where anything could grow. Your crankiness, my notions, and his dream grow and be looked at. Grow and live or die, but get their chance of growing and the sun. We made it, and we make it, and it's ours. We shall maintain it. It shall be sustained. We shall maintain it. It shall be sustained. We want to tell you about the house John Rogers lives in. We want to tell you how the house that had been his lost its walls, and all the rooms were filled with rubble, and a dust arose. And when he looked again, the house was gone.
Was it a bomb that fell?
Bomb? A bomber over Elm Street, USA? No.
But you say his house disappeared. How did it happen?
We're going to tell you. For John Rogers, the morning began as so many others had begun since Tom and Elsa had gone. Again, he hadn't slept. He had opened the front door and stood on the front porch and watched the daylight slowly wake up the street. It had rained during the night. He had listened to every drop. And now the light lit up the wet leaves as the trees shook themselves in the morning wind. Another day, and he was waiting for 8 o'clock.
Sorry, Mr. Rogers. Nothing today. Maybe it'll come tomorrow. You know, it takes a long time for a letter to get to Elm Street from Japan.
John Rogers went back into the house. Chairs, table, sofa, the piano that Elsa had played. He went upstairs. Tom's room, just as it had been. His bed, his typewriter on the desk, his track shoes hanging from the side of the chair he had made in manual training. Elsa's room. The silly room, he'd called it, with its frippery, billowing curtains, flounces on the dressing table, at which she'd sat so many times, covering with glamour a face that was so very young. Everything as it had been, but now a place he couldn't stay in. Out into the street, to walk, as he had done so many times before, until the circle of his aimless steps brought him back to this empty house he lived in.
Mr. Rogers. Can I walk with you, Mr. Rogers?
The miller's boy suddenly was there, walking alongside of him.
I got a new harmonica.
Have you, son?
Do you play the harmonica?
No.
I can. My ma said, please get out of the house if you're going to play that. I got a headache. Why'd a headache, Mr. Rogers?
Loud noises, unnecessary conversations, worries.
You got worries, Mr. Rogers?
Play your harmonica, son.
Okay.
The boy kept playing as he walked. And suddenly John Rogers realized that the boy's eyes were on him, as if he wanted to say something, yet was afraid to speak. And then he did speak.
take such big steps, Mr. Rogers.
Oh, sorry. That better?
Yes.
No school today, son?
You didn't know it was Saturday?
Sometimes one day gets to be like another.
Mr. Rogers, listen. You just wait. Jimmy Doolittle, he'll go over with 1,000 flying forts, and he'll get Tom away from those Japanese. Honest, he will.
And then the boy was gone, and John Rogers kept on walking. Then, this thought. The boy, this neighbor boy, his meeting and walking with him, had it been accidental? No, the boy had wanted to walk with him and say what he had said.
1,000 flying fortresses. Headed up by Superman, I suppose, with Tarzan of the Apes leading a charge of elephants toward my son's prison camp.
Good morning, Mr. Rogers. How are you this morning? I'm your neighbor, Mrs. Gibson.
A woman, yes, a neighbor. John Rogers had seen her once or twice as he'd walked by. And now she was there walking with him, a grocery bag on her arm, and talking to him.
It must have rained quite hard last night.
Yes, it did.
All the rain this spring has certainly done wonders for our lawns. I've noticed yours. It's very lovely.
Yes.
Of course, the whole problem is to get someone to do the mowing.
Well, if the grass grows tall, there'll be no harm.
No, of course not. Mr. Rogers, I wonder if I could ask you something.
Huh?
Well, I know your daughter Elsa's been overseas for a long time, but my daughter Peggy's joining up, and you can understand how excited I've been, and I was wondering if you could tell me anything that...
You were saying?
I was just finding an excuse to talk to you. Peggy's joined up and gone, and I've watched you walk by my house every day, and today I started off to market just at this time so that I could have an excuse to tell you that Mr. Gibson and I'd like very much to have you come to dinner some night this week. No, don't say yes or no now. Think about it. And whenever you'd like to come over, just let us know. Goodbye.
John Rogers had walked along this street morning after morning, hundreds of mornings from the day after the news came that Tom might not be back, and Elsa left the house to join up. Morning after morning, and always it had been alone. And now this. A boy, a woman, childish prattle, feminine dinner-making. What was this today? Suddenly, he heard that tune again. The one the boy had been playing. One of the houses along the street. A colored woman singing as she swept the front porch.
The house I live in, a plot of earth, a street, the grocer and the butcher, and the people that I meet, the children in the playground, the faces that I see, all races, all religions, that's America to me. The house I live in, my neighbors white and black, the people who just came here, or from generations back, the town hall and the soapbox, the torch of liberty, a home for all God's children. That's America to me.
The house I live in. But the house John Rogers lived in was an empty house.
That's a wonderful song, isn't it, Mr. Rogers?
A voice. Who? John Rogers turned and saw it was Anne. His son Tom's Anne.
I said that's a wonderful song.
Oh, hello, Anne. How've you been?
Fine, Mr. Rogers, fine.
I haven't seen you for quite some time.
Almost a year.
Has it been that long?
Yes, it has.
Well, you see, I've been very busy, and I'm sorry I've wanted to get over to see you, but it's just been one of those things.
Well, I know your war work, and yet we kept hoping you'd find time to come visit us.
Well, I'm sorry, dear. I just don't get out these days at all.
And yet each morning you come out of the house and walk the street.
How did you know that?
I've watched you. We all have. You're very lonely, Mr. Rogers.
Why, yes, I am.
I was, too.
Was? A letter. Yes, you've heard from Tom. What is he...
No, there's been nothing. It's just that, well, I'm not lonely anymore.
I see. You mean your work. I've tried that. It just isn't quite enough.
I stopped being lonely the day one of the neighborhood women, stopped me on the street and asked me where she and some of the others could send Christmas packages to Tom.
Our Tom?
Yes, ours.
Why, I didn't know.
Tom mattered to a lot of people on this street. Yes, and I suddenly began to realize that he mattered on many other streets where they didn't know his name or who he was. Because Tom wasn't just ours anymore. What had happened to him mattered to everybody back home who had a sweetheart, or a husband, or a son.
All in a moment, the house that John Rogers lived in lost its walls, and all the rooms were filled with rubble, and a dust arose, and when he looked again, his empty house was gone. Suddenly a new house arose, and it was filled with people. All the people to whom Tom mattered, even though they'd never seen him or didn't even know his name. All the people whose hearts were filled with the work and the troubles and the hopes of this war that John Rogers' son and daughter, yes, and he, were fighting. So this is the house we live in, a house of people. And there can be no walls, for sorrow knows no walls, and determination knows no walls, and there are no walls for faith.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard The House I Live In, an original radio drama by Arch Oboler. The leading roles were taken by Ronald Colman and his guest Dinah Shore, with Lillian Randolph, Bea Benaderet, and Joseph Kearns. The original music was written and conducted by Gordon Jenkins. The song, The House I Live In, is by Earl Robinson and Lewis Allen. While the circuit to the Pacific base is being completed for Mr. Coleman and Miss Shore, here's an important announcement for car owners all over America. As a public service, Autolite has published, in cooperation with the American Automobile Association, a splendid new 40-page booklet on car service called Keep 'em Rolling. This free book shows you how and when to get the service your car needs to make it go the duration. Helps you in getting full mileage from every drop of gas. Tells you how to make your tires, your battery, and other vital parts of your car give longer service. Now, here's how you get this valuable book. Just ask any Autolite dealer, your local automobile club, or write the Electric Autolite Company, Toledo 1, Ohio, or Toronto, Ontario, for your free copy. Let me repeat. Keep 'em Rolling is a book that helps you get the service your car needs to keep going for the duration. And when you need to replace parts of your car's electrical system, such as spark plugs, wire and cable, batteries, or any part of the starting, lighting, and ignition system, ask for Autolite parts. Remember, the name Autolite means precision manufacturing.
Well, Dinah, in a few seconds we'll be on our way to an advanced base in the Pacific.
And it's all done with a turn of the dial.
Yes, and so far we've had wonderful luck with our short waves.
Now, Mr. Coleman, we're clearing the circuit now. Ready, sir?
Yes. Now just put on your earphone, Dinah, and we'll turn the dial that spins the globe. Here goes. This is Dinah Shore and Ronald Coleman calling an advanced base in the Pacific. This is Hollywood calling. Come in, fellows.
Hiya, Hollywood. This is Clip William Malinowski of the United States Marine Corps.
And this is Coxswain Frank Nadwin of the United States Navy. And the Marines are okay, too.
Yeah. And I have someone right here beside me who's okay, too. Fellas, this is Dinah Shore.
Hiya, fellas.
You mean it's really you, Dinah?
Sure, it's me. I got my boots laced, too, to coin a phrase.
Now, look, fellas, we called your families, and everybody's fine, and they all send their love.
And they've been betting their money straight across the border on you and all the boys over in the Pacific.
And boy, did we pick a winner. His name is Clara.
His name is Clara.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Clara is the name of my water buffalo.
Water buffalo? Look, Jack, what kind of talk is that?
Well, you see, Dinah, I'm crew chief of an amphibian tractor, and that's called a water buffalo. But we call it Clara. Well, sometimes we call it Dear Clara, and sometimes we call it. Well, we just call it.
Well, now, tell me, how's Clara feeling, Leo?
Well, just fine, Mr. Coleman. Well, Clara made 36 landings in the Marshalls and brought all the men ashore safely and a lot of ammunition, supplies, and food to the beachhead.
That's a new twist on the pinup girl. Well, I've got a song for Clara, and it's called It Had to Be You. It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found somebody who could make me be true, could make me be blue, and even be glad just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be me, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do, 'cause nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, dear, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you.
Say, how was that, Leo?
On the beam. And I'm glad it had to be me, Dinah.
Hey, Sailor. I mean, Frank, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am. Just as mellow as cello, ma'am.
Frank, your wife told us that you've been a coxswain in landing barges, that you were in the first wave in the Sicily invasion, in the second wave at Tarawa, and the fourth wave at Kwajalein.
And not only that, you got all your men ashore, except a couple of men who were wounded at Tarawa.
Yeah. And I broke my own foot at Kwajalein.
Oh.
How do you like that?
Well, how are you feeling now, Frank?
Wonderful. But I feel even more wonderful if Miss Short sing another song.
Well, there's a little number about a solid gal named Tess, if you don't mind.
Mine? Are you kidding? I'm out of my mind.
Well, all right. Play, Gordy. I had a man. He was a good man. That is, you see, what I mean is I thought he was a good man. I had a friend. She was a good friend. I told my friend about my man, 'cause I thought she was a good friend. Life was sweet. Didn't I have my man? My world complete. Then the fireworks began. Ain't got no man. Ain't got no friend. I'll bet you can guess just exactly what happened. That was the end of my friend, the end of my man, and darn near the end of me.
Well, did you get it, Frank?
Got it, thanks.
Time's up, Miss Coleman.
Well, that's it, fellows. That's all for now.
Oh.
Well, it's been great fun.
Yeah, terrific. It's just been terrific.
Good night, and good luck, boys.
Good night, and God bless you, fellas.
Good night.
The Army and Navy need more nurses. We have been asked by the Red Cross to urge all nurses to register at their nearest Red Cross chapter as soon as possible. There's an immediate, pressing need for hundreds of trained nurses. Nurses, you may mean the difference between life and death to our wounded soldiers. Won't you enlist and help save their lives?
Next week, Autolite cordially invites you to another program of Everything for the Boys. Your new global half hour, uniting the home front and the battle fronts overseas. Your host, Ronald Coleman, will have as his special guests Jimmy Durante and Hosea Turby in a program dedicated to a pair of fighting Yanks who will speak by shortwave from their base in the South Pacific.
Our thanks to Dinah Shaw. Until next week, when Hosea Turby and Jimmy Durante will be our guests, this is Ronald Coleman saying good night to you and the boys, and God be with you.
Everything for the Boys is shortwaved all over the world. This is Frank Martin saying good night for Autolite.
This program has come to you from Hollywood and a base in the Pacific. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
And now, stay tuned for the mystery program that is unique among all mystery programs. Because even when you know who is guilty, you always receive a startling surprise at the final curtain. In the Signal Oil program, The Whistler. Signal, the famous Go Farther gasoline, their strange story by the Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
And now for the Signal Oil Company, the Whistler's strange story. A matter of patience.
When the big car swung in the drive, the front door to the house was already open. A woman on the front porch waiting to speak to John Granger as he stepped from the car and started up the porch steps. It was the housekeeper, and she was very excited, upset. John Granger could tell it even before she spoke. And he also knew that her excitement concerned his wife, Lillian.
Mr. Granger. Oh, I'm so glad you're home.
What is it, Mrs. Albert? What's wrong?
It's Mrs. Granger, yes. There's been an accident. She cut her wrist. Dr. Phillips is with her now upstairs.
Well, I'll go right up.
Dear, oh, dear.
Oh, here's the doctor.
It's all right, Mrs. Albert. Nothing to get excited about. Hello, Granger.
Is Lillian all right?
Yes. Scarcely a scratch. I've given her a sedative.
So, can I do anything?
No. However, I'd like to talk to you a moment if we...
excuse us, Mrs. Albert.
Certainly. Call if you need me, Mr. Granger. And good night.
Good night.
Well, Doctor?
And I'll come straight to the point, Granger. Your father-in-law asked me to talk to you. Frankly, DJ is very worried about his daughter.
I see. Then you don't think Lillian cut her wrist accidentally?
She says it was an accident.
But you don't believe it?
Well, she's been upset lately over the diet I put her on. Seems to have an abnormal craving for sweets. They're bad for her.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, furthermore, I'm going to have to make her diet even more strict. No sweets of any kind.
That won't be easy with Lillian.
You're right. She should have a hobby of some kind, Granger. Get her mind off herself. I was wondering, as a girl, she used to like photography.
Oh, yes. Do you think she should get interested in it again?
Well, I think it would help greatly.
Well, I'll certainly do what I can, Doctor. I mean, in seeing that she adheres to the diet and help her get started on her hobby.
But you know all about Lillian, don't you, John? You're certain it was an accident, the way she cut her wrist. But the others believe she actually tried to take her life. In these past years, there have been times when you've wished she would, haven't you? You felt that she's nagged, held you down. And you've had a far different marriage than the one you planned. Particularly since learning that your wife, Lillian, had no money in her own name. That her father holds everything in a tight rein. The partnership in Dawson and Company, which you expected but haven't received. But somehow now you believe you can remedy the situation. And that's why you're not at all alarmed the next morning when your father-in-law calls you into his office.
I've just talked to Dr. Phillips on the phone, John.
Yes, DJ?
Yes, and I've been talking to a few other people, too. Just how long has Eloise Tracy been your secretary?
Oh, a couple of months, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. And in the last 2 months, you've scarcely spent one evening at home.
Well, I've had a lot of overtime work to do.
Where? In nightclubs? You and Eloise have been seen in every club on the Sunset Strip.
Just dropping in for a bite to eat after work.
Well, I'll put a stop to that. Now, I'm not going to fire Eloise. It probably isn't her fault. But I'll exchange secretaries with you for the present. You can have Miss Summers.
Miss Summers? Well, she's been your private secretary for years. You couldn't get along without her.
Perhaps not. But I'd make any sacrifice for my daughter's happiness. But do you realize that if this came to Lillian's attention, it would kill her?
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, I am. Lillian is a sensitive girl.
That's a matter of opinion, DJ.
Oh, she loves you devotedly. You're her whole life. Can't you see if anything happened to your marriage that Lillian might take the most desperate steps? Well, she'd stop at nothing.
Has it ever occurred to you, DJ, that I might want to leave Lillian?
What? I won't stand for it, you hear? I won't stand for it.
Now, take it easy, DJ. Maybe we can come to terms.
What do you mean, terms? I mean, make me a partner in the firm. And I'll agree to stay with Lillian. Anything you say.
A partner? Why, this is practically blackmail.
Yes. Isn't it?
I see.
So our cards are on the table. All right. You will be a partner in the firm. However, the stock that I transfer will be placed in Lillian's name. A deal, John?
A hard bargain, DJ. But a deal.
Yes.
It isn't exactly what you wanted, is it, John? But you feel certain that things will work out. You manage to have a few words with Eloise. Tell her that you can't see so much of each other for a while, at least not in public. Then you leave the office early and go home. You find Mrs. Alberts in the kitchen. Question her about the whereabouts of Lily.
Where did you say Mrs. Alberts? In the tool shed?
Yes, isn't it wonderful, Mr. Granger? She's directing the carpenters. They're making the shed into a studio for Mrs. Granger's photography.
Oh, yes, I see.
Yes, a dark room and everything. Oh, Mr. Granger, you don't know how happy it makes me to see Mrs. Granger taking a real interest in something again.
Yes, it's fine, Mrs. Alberts. I'd better go out and see what's going on.
That's all we can do today, Mrs. Granger.
Hello, Lillian. Men just finishing up, I see.
Yes, they've been working so hard all day. They've really earned their rest.
Good night, Mrs. Granger.
Good night, Fred. They're so nice. Oh, Father called me. Just think of you becoming a partner in Father's firm.
Your father's a very fine man, Lillian. He's very good to us. But you are actually the partner.
It doesn't matter. As long as we're married, everything's for both of us, John.
Yes.
I've always felt that you and Father didn't like each other too much.
Well, of course we do. How can we help it? When we both have your best interest at heart.
I wish I could really believe that. Sometimes I've doubted that you really loved me, John.
Oh, I'm sorry if I seem to neglect you, but it's been business. I try to make good in your father's firm by hard work. I wanted to build a secure future for the two of us, of course.
And I'm going to try to do my part then by being more cheerful. I'm not going to let anything worry or depress me, and I'm going to work hard on my photography, and I'm going to diet very strictly.
Oh, never mind that part. We can't let them bully us too much. We've had little secrets before. We'll simply have another.
I don't understand.
Well, here. Here, darling, I brought you these.
John, chocolates. My favorites, too.
Yes, dear. I know what a craving you have for sweets.
Tonight I'd like to have a little chat, especially with you motorists who buy most any brand of gasoline that happens to be convenient because you think gasoline is gasoline. You'd change your mind in a hurry if you'd spend some time around Signal service stations, as I do, listening to comments of regular Signal customers. You'd hear them telling about records they've kept, which prove the good mileage which has made Signal famous as the Go Farther gasoline. You'd hear them bragging about their car's performance, its lively getaway, and the smooth, quiet way it walks up hills and high since they switched to Signal. What's more, there are now so many drivers like this who won't be satisfied with anything less than Signal. This summer has been by far the biggest summer in the entire history of Signal Oil Company. Well, friends, when a gasoline is increasing so in popularity, it seems to me you just naturally want to find out what it is about that gasoline which makes motorists prefer it. There's no better time to find out than with your very next tank full of gasoline. No better place to get it than at the very next Signal station you see.
Well, John, it's going differently than you'd hoped and planned for. But you decide to be patient. Wait your time. Also, you can count on Lillian to help make your freedom complete. Her desire for sweets is something that you can quietly take advantage of. Your little secret. You continue to see Eloise traces, another secret, and something else over which you must exercise patience. But you managed to play your part well for Lillian's father. And one day, some weeks later, he again called you into his office, this time for a more pleasant conversation.
Well, John, my boy, how do you like it?
Wow. New letterhead. Dawson, Granger and Company. That looks great, DJ.
Well, I like it myself, now that I'm used to the idea.
Well, thanks. Thanks, DJ.
Frankly, at first I didn't feel that you were the man for Lillian. But I guess I was wrong. She seems very happy lately.
She's become very interested in her amateur photography. That was a good idea Dr. Phillips had.
He's greatly encouraged. I talked to him on the phone yesterday. He's still concerned about her general health, however.
Oh, that's so? I think she's been sticking pretty close to the diet he gave her.
Yeah, as long as she's happy, that's all that matters.
You're so right, DJ.
Well, I wanted you to be the first to see the new stationery. Now I'll have Miss Hanson see that every department receives a supply.
Miss Hanson?
Yes, my new secretary. She started to work this morning.
But where's Eloise Tracy?
Eloise? She's gone. Has another job. I got it for her myself.
You did?
Yes. You know, Eloise Tracy is too attractive to work in a business office. But I didn't want to fire her until I'd lined her up somewhere else.
Oh, that was decent of you, TJ.
I placed her with one of our biggest accounts. Ramirez, the coffee king.
Ramirez? But he's located in Brazil.
Yes, he wants an American secretary to take back with him. It's just the job for Eloise, don't you think? Give her a chance to travel and all that.
Yeah, just the job.
The news strikes you like a blow in the face, doesn't it, John? Your father-in-law is more aware than you've realized, and more clever. He's arranged to put Eloise out of your reach for good. That's why you're trembling with rage as you leave Dawson's office. Check the files and learn that Ramirez is stopping at the Seneca Hotel on Wilshire. You leave immediately and drive out there. On your call to his suite on the house phone, Eloise answers. She protests to being busy and cannot see you at once. You're pacing the lobby restlessly when she finally steps out of the elevator looking pale and tense.
John, you shouldn't have come here.
I've got to talk to you, Eloise. Dawson just told me everything. Where can we go to be alone?
I only have a few minutes, John. Mr. Ramirez is dictating.
Please, Eloise, sit down. Let's talk this over.
There's nothing to talk about, John. I've made up my mind. I'm doing what's best for both of us.
But you can't do it, Eloise. You can't go to Brazil. It's so far away.
That's where I'm going, John.
But you can get a job here in Los Angeles. I'll get you one.
No, that won't do.
Eloise, you'll have me. I can take care of you if necessary.
No, John. I've thought it over carefully. You must make a clean break.
I can't live without you, Eloise. You know that.
Oh, yes, you can, John. You'll have a good life. Your partnership in the Dawson firm, money, security.
But, Eloise, if I can't share it with you, what's the use?
Don't talk like that, John. You're not making it any easier for us.
Please listen to me.
No. We've got to face facts, that's all. And I have to consider my own future. Mr. Ramirez will introduce me to people in South America.
Well, they fixed it up very nicely between them, haven't they? Ramirez and Dawson.
John.
Can't you see? It's just DJ's trick to separate us.
John, you're married. I intend to be someday.
Oh, I see. The queen of a coffee plantation.
Oh.
And I with my nagging queen, Lillian.
There's no use being bitter. Please, I have to go back up.
When do you leave?
We sail in 2 weeks. Mr. Ramirez has business here that he must take care of first.
Then we'll see each other again.
No, John. I don't think so.
But, Eloise...
We'll make it goodbye now. It's better this way. Goodbye, John. Think of me, won't you?
You're too upset to go back to the office, aren't you, John? You can't let DJ see you this way. And so you call the office, then drive on out to your home in the valley. On the way, you try to think things out. One thing is certain. You must not lose Eloise. She loves you. You know that. And by the time you reach the house, you've decided to talk to Lillian about a divorce. As you enter the living room, Mrs. Alberts, the housekeeper, calls out to you.
Mr. Granger?
Yes, Mrs. Alberts.
Oh, I've got to talk to you privately, sir. Now, while Mrs. Granger is busy out in her studio.
Oh, what's it about, Mrs. Alberts?
Well, it's about her, Mrs. Granger. I'm afraid something terrible is going to happen.
Now, please calm yourself, Mrs. Alberts. What are you talking about?
Oh, it's just awful. I thought everything was going along so well. Mrs. Granger's been cheerful and calm, but this afternoon, I found it.
You found what?
The bottle of poison. She's going to kill herself.
Well, that's ridiculous. She's been saying that for years.
No, it's true. I found the bottle in her room. It was marked poison. A hydro something. I can't remember the name.
Where is the bottle? Let me see.
Well, that's just it. I can't. It's gone.
Gone?
Yes. I went to telephone you about it, but you weren't in your office. And then when I went back to get the poison, it was gone.
I see. Yes. Never mind, Mrs. Alberts. I'll take care of everything.
Oh, well, perhaps you could have a talk with Mrs. Granger.
Yes. But for now, please, just put the whole thing out of your mind.
Yes, sir.
This changes your plans, doesn't it, John? And suddenly you decide not to mention divorce to Lily, not for the present, because you might work things out another way. But you have made another decision. And later that night, after Lillian has gone to bed, you again talk to the old housekeeper.
A vacation, Mr. Granger. Oh, well, I hadn't thought of such a thing. Do you think it would be wise for me to leave Mrs. Granger just now?
Well, I'm going to take some time off from the office so I can be with her more, Mrs. Alberts.
Oh, now she'd like that, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm going to spend the next couple of weeks showing her a good time. We'll go on some little trips together, and she can take some film with that new 16-millimeter camera.
But what about the housework?
Oh, we'll manage. Lillian likes to cook, you know.
Oh, yes, she does. She always insists on making your desserts.
No, they're darn good desserts, too.
Yes, she has a secret recipe. Still, sir, I don't like to take a vacation just now.
Oh, no, it's all settled, Mrs. Alberts. Do you good.
Well, I would like to visit my sister in Ohio. I haven't seen her for years.
Well, see her by all means. The trip will be a present from us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Granger. I'll give you my address. And if you need me, you just call. I'll come right back home.
With the housekeeper away, everything should work out beautifully, shouldn't it, John? In the days that follow Mrs. Albert's departure, you watch Lillian closely. She does seem nervous, even depressed. Still, you can't believe she actually intends taking her own life. But the important thing is what the others think, isn't it, John? Yes. And you can't wait too much longer now. Because in your few attempts to see Eloise Tracy, she refuses to talk to you. She'll soon leave for Brazil unless you change your plans. One evening, shortly before Mrs. Alberts is due to return, you and Lillian are finishing dinner.
How did you like the dessert, John?
Excellent as usual. What is it, Lillian?
My secret recipe. You really do like it, don't you?
Oh, you bet I do. Well, aren't you having any?
No, I've had my sweets for today. The chocolates you put in my studio.
Oh, well. There are only a few. But, you should stick to your diet.
To tell you the truth, John, I've stopped worrying about it. These last weeks have been wonderful. I've been very happy.
I'm glad, Lily.
Photography is very interesting, and I have all sorts of plans. And now for our trip tomorrow.
Oh, the trip. I'm sorry, Lillian. I'm afraid we'll have to postpone the trip. I've got to go to the office tomorrow.
Oh. Well, that's all right, dear. I have a lot I can do. I'll develop the film we took the other day, and then I can work on some redeveloping fluid. I've been intending to do that for some time. I brought the hydrocyanic acid several weeks ago.
You were right, weren't you, John? Lillian had no intention of taking her life. None at all. It was merely a foolish suspicion on the part of Mrs. Albert. The acid was for her photography. And now you decide that you'll have to take matters in your own hands. It's an idea you've been toying with, isn't it? A simple, effective idea. With some of that poison acid injected into the chocolates that you put in Lillian's studio. It will fit in so perfectly with Mrs. Albert's suspicions when she testifies later that she found the poison in Lillian's room and feared a suicide try. That night, after Lillian goes to bed, you take care of everything, carefully injecting the chocolates with the poison and putting them in the regular place in his studio. In the morning, as you leave for the office, Lillian is in excellent spirits.
Well, I've got to go, dear. Sorry we had to cancel our trip today.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I have a full day planned. I'll be in the studio all day.
Well, don't work too hard.
No, I'll try not to. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Alberts is coming back this morning.
Oh? Today?
Yes.
Well, isn't that sooner than expected?
Well, I had a telegram from her a couple of days ago. I forgot to mention it.
I see. What time does the train get in?
At 10, to take a taxi from the station. She'll be here about 11.
11.
I'm going to leave a note for her in the kitchen telling her I'll be out in the studio all day and not to disturb me.
Oh, that's a very good idea, Lillian. A very good idea.
The morning passes slowly at the office, doesn't it, John? You try to keep your mind on business, but it's out of the question as you wonder what's happening at home. Wonder if Mrs. Albert's arrived, if she saw Lillian's note. You toy with the papers on your desk, dictate a few uninspired letters. Finally, it's 12 o'clock. Then 12:30. Then 1. You decide to go out to lunch, but can scarcely eat. Then as you return to the office, you meet your father-in-law in the reception room.
Ramirez called while you were out, John. It seems he wants to reword one of the clauses in our contract. Probably just a detail.
Ramirez. Oh, yes, he sails tomorrow, doesn't he?
Yes, in the morning. You better drive out to the Seneca Hotel right away.
Right away.
If it's anything important, give me a ring.
Eloise.
Oh, John. John, I'm so glad you've come.
But I've called you so often. I've wanted to see you.
I know, but I thought... John, it's just no use. I'm not going to Brazil. I can't.
Eloise, darling. Have you told Mr. Ramirez?
Not yet, John.
You mean he doesn't want to see me?
No, John. I just used the contract as an excuse to get you to come. I wanted to talk to you. See how you felt. Darling, are you sure I'm doing the right thing by staying here in town?
Yes, Eloise. I'm sure. Surer than I've ever been.
You go over matters in your mind as you drive back to the office, don't you, John? So that part at least is settled. Eloise will remain in town. When you enter your own offices, you know that something is wrong, that they've received word. There's a strained atmosphere which you can almost feel. And the voice of the receptionist borders on hysteria as she tells you that Mr. Dawson wants to see you at once.
John, my boy, John.
Well, DJ, what's the matter?
I tried to reach you at the Seneca and you'd left.
Well, what is it? What's happened?
It's Lillian, John.
Lillian?
She's dead. Mrs. Albert's phone.
Lillian dead? Can't believe it.
It's true.
But why did she do it? She was in good spirits. I've tried.
Oh, it wasn't that. It was an accident.
An accident?
Yes, a fire. She was working in her studio. Mrs. Albert happened to look out of the kitchen window, and she saw smoke coming out of the studio.
But the fire, how could it have started?
Oh, cigarette, they believe. She must have fainted and dropped her cigarette on some film. She suffocated.
I simply can't believe it. Poor Lillian. And she was so happy. We were getting along so beautifully.
I won't forget that part of it, John. You've been wonderful. You kept your part of the bargain.
It wasn't just a bargain, DJ. Not anymore. We've been very happy these past weeks.
I won't forget it, I promise you. You'll stay on as my partner.
Whatever you wish, DJ.
Reduces engine wear 50%. It's today's biggest news in motor oil. Reduces engine wear 50%. It's today's best news for motorists. Yes, new Signal Premium, the amazing new heavy-duty type motor oil that reduces engine wear due to lubrication 50%, can mean wonderful things to you in both savings and performance. Reducing engine wear 50% means your car can now run twice as many miles before needing an overhaul due to engine wear. So, new Signal Premium saves you on upkeep. Reducing engine wear 50% means that your car will keep its light, new pep and power twice as long. So, new Signal Premium increases driving pleasure. Yet this superior quality lubricant that gives you all these extra benefits is yours at no increase in price at Signal service stations. So remember where to get your next oil change, at a Signal station. Remember the oil to change to. New Signal Premium, the heavy-duty type motor oil that reduces engine wear due to lubrication. 50%.
It's all over, isn't it, John? Your patience has been rewarded, hasn't it? And the extra good fortune of the fire hid all traces of the poisoned chocolate, with everyone completely convinced that Lillian died in the accidental burning of the little photography studio. You're certain that it happened another way, aren't you? Yes, that she became dizzy after taking the poison candy, dizzy and unsteady, and that's why she dropped her cigarette from her shaking hand. But it doesn't matter now, does it, John? Even Lillian's father believes in you, intends a reward for your faithfulness to his daughter. And you know at last that you and Eloise will soon be together, and that you'll be able to afford all of the things both of you want. You're almost unable to hide the inner joy you feel as Mrs. Alberts comes in.
Shall I take the train, Mr. Granger? Why, you've scarcely eaten anything.
I know, Mrs. Alberts. I'm sorry.
Oh, but you must keep up your strength, sir.
Well, yes, I suppose so.
Yes. Anyway, you did eat most of your dessert. That would have pleased Mrs. Granger.
Yes, perhaps it would.
She always enjoyed seeing you eat her secret recipe. Probably because she couldn't eat any sweets herself.
Mm-hmm. I often felt guilty around her.
I can just see her now, melting that candy.
Melting candy? What candy?
Why, the chocolates you put in her studio for. She never touched a bite of them, sir.
What?
Well, she didn't want to hurt your feelings. She always melted your chocolates down and made them into your dessert.
My dessert?
Yes. Another of her secret recipes. Poor dear. Why, one of the last things she did this very afternoon was to bring in the candy and make that dessert you just finished eating.
Let that whistle be your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler, each Sunday night at the same time. Signal Oil Company has asked me to remind you, now that school days are here again, it's even more important to drive at sensible speeds. Be courteous and obey traffic regulations. It may save a life, possibly a child. Featured in tonight's story were Bill Foreman as the Whistler, Hy Averback, Gene Cagney, Monty Margetts, Martha Wentworth, Ted Von Elst, and Hal Dawson. The Whistler was produced and directed by George W. Allen, with story by George Adrian and Carol Nick. Music by Wilbur Hatch, and was transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. The Whistler is entirely fictional, and all characters portrayed on The Whistler are also fictional. Any similarity of names or resemblance to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Remember to tune in at this same time next Sunday when the Signal Oil Company will bring you another strange story by The Whistler. Marvin Miller speaking for the Signal Oil Company. Stay tuned now for the Horace Height Show, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is the CBS Radio Network.
The Mummers in the Little Theater of the Air.
Hermit, you're next.
Turn them out? Ah, have you heard the story? The house on Lost Man's Bluff, eh? Then listen while the hermit tells you the story.
For heaven's sake.
What is it, Denton?
Out of gas?
Couldn't be, Charles. Denton filled up at the last stop. What is it, Denton?
For heaven's sake, Nan, how do I know? Well, that's that.
Ooh, I hope we don't get stranded in this forsaken territory.
Well, that'd be something, wouldn't it? We haven't passed a house in the last 3 hours.
Well, I might as well get out and see what I can do.
You want me to take a look at it, Denton?
No, I'll tinker with it a while. You and Nan sit down on the side of the road.
I might be able to find the trouble for you, Dan.
Charles was only trying to help, Denton.
Never mind, I say. I'll have the thing going in a moment. Do as I say. Sit along the road. I'm going to work.
Come on, Charles. Let's do as he says.
Just as you say, Denton.
Here's a nice place to sit, Charles. We can look right down into a valley from here.
Why, it is nice, isn't it?
See? You can look all over the valley.
Wonder what they call this place.
I wouldn't know. Oh, look. We're not so far from civilization as I thought.
A town at the lower end of the valley.
Yes.
Now, that's still a long way away. You see? The road takes a roundabout way along the rim of the valley.
Uh-huh.
Say, I bet that's where I'm going to work.
Do you think so?
I'll just bet you that's where the job is that Denton got for me.
Way out? Away from everything?
Oh, I don't know. Looks like a nice little town. I'll make out all right.
I hate to have you leaving us, Charles. I'll be terribly lonesome.
Oh, I'll get back to the city occasionally.
You must be sure to do that.
Sure I will. Man, Denton can't hear us talking from here, can he?
No.
I have a feeling that he managed this job for me way out here because he didn't want me living with you two anymore.
Oh, no, Charles. Why should he object to my own brother living with us?
You've got me there. I can't figure it out. When I first came to stay with you, Denton talked of getting me work close by.
I know he did.
Man, there's something strange about it.
I don't know exactly what you mean, Charles.
Yes, you do. Ever since Denton came back from that road trip, he's acted strange.
Now that you mention it, I think I have noticed something different about Denton.
He was jolly and friendly enough to me when I first arrived. And now, all of a sudden, he's changed.
Maybe we're imagining it all.
Doesn't seem that he'd be jealous of his wife's own brother, does it?
No. Denton's not like that.
But he has been for the last 10 days. Morose, sullen, sitting most of the time staring at me.
Maybe he feels I've been paying more attention to you than to him.
Maybe that's it.
It's only natural that I'd be solicitous of my own brother, whom I haven't seen for so many years.
Well, we won't talk about it anymore. All I hope is that he isn't ill, that you aren't going to have trouble with me so far away.
You said we mustn't worry about it. We won't.
No.
I do wish he'd get the car started.
He wouldn't let me help him. Fairly pushed me away.
Denton's frightfully independent. But I wish he'd hurry.
Nervous?
I think we're going to have a storm. We should be getting out of these hills and down into town quickly.
Say, the sky is getting black and gloomy.
Look over to the west. Clouds are piling up fast.
Something of a wind coming up, too.
Denton just stands there looking at the car as if he didn't know what he was doing.
Maybe he doesn't. Well, let's go back over. Maybe you'll let me help him now.
All right.
Watch your step. There are jagged pieces of rock here.
The wind's getting stronger every minute.
It sure is. Looks like we might be getting a tornado. How are you making out, Denton?
What?
Located the trouble?
We should hurry, Denton.
There's a terrific storm coming up fast.
Can't make the car go if it doesn't want to.
Look at the sky, Denton. We're in for a real storm.
Wow. There goes my hat. No use chasing it now.
Please, hurry. Get the car started.
All right. All right, get inside. Maybe it'll go now.
Let's hurry.
We'll have to drive like mad to get out of these hills and into the village before the storm breaks. I know these roads. I'll get you out all right.
Denton, don't be so cross. Jump on every word Charles says.
Ben, don't give me orders.
Oh, look. Driver's light was a cheek of light. Now look how black it is. Turn on the lights of the car, Denton. What are we going to do, Denton? It'll blow the car off the road and hurl us down the hill.
Wow. That was a peal of thunder.
Denton, we can't drive on in this.
No, we can't. What are we going to do, Dan? Can we sit in the car and be safe? We aren't going to sit here. We're going to make for shelter.
But where?
There's a house sitting up there on the rock.
So dark I can't see it.
There's a house up there. I got caught in a storm the last time I was through here. Climbed up to that house and stayed until it blew over. Can we get up there all right? We can make it. We'll have to. Get out of the car. We've got to start right away. Hurry, climb out. Give me your hand, Dad.
It's in the middle of the afternoon and black as night.
Now, we've got to climb fast. I'll take hold of hands and start up the rock. We've got to get to that house. We've got to get there. Give me your hand, man. Let's go. Hurry. Come on.
Knock on the door, Denton.
We don't have to knock. We walk right in.
What?
Hurry. Get inside. Boy, what a relief. I thought for a few minutes we might not make it. I'll bolt this door so the wind won't rip it open.
Who owns this place? Doesn't anyone live here?
There was no one living in it when I stopped on my way through here last time.
It must belong to someone. It's completely furnished.
Whoever owns it hasn't been here for a long time, then. Everything's covered with dust and cobwebs. I can see them even in this pale light.
It's so dark in here. Can't you find a lamp or something, Denton?
I'll get a light. There's one in this room off the hall.
Come on, Charles. Let's follow him. I don't like standing in this dark hall.
I found a lamp. I'll have it lighted in a moment.
Oh, it's so damp and cold in here. Ooh.
There. Huh. Light makes it better, doesn't it? Some.
Maybe. I don't like the looks of this place.
At least we're out of the storm, man.
You stopped here on your last trip through, Denton? And there was no one living here then?
That's what I said, wasn't it?
But it's completely furnished. Surely someone lives here now.
Maybe they do. They aren't here now.
Almost like a dungeon in the room. Windows are built so high.
Something like a fort. But it's grand Denton knew of this place. It's shelter out of the storm. The wind couldn't blow this building over.
Denton?
What?
What are you staring at?
What?
You heard what I said. What are you staring out into the hall for?
Say, Dan, are you all right?
Don't clench your hands that way. What do you see?
Did I say I saw anything?
What's the matter with you?
Don't keep asking me questions. I've got you out of the storm. Isn't that enough? Now leave me alone.
Where are you going? Where are you going, Denton? Stop him, Charles.
Don't you think we all of us sit in here? When the storm blows over, we can drive on.
What's wrong with him? He's moving like a person in a trance. Get him to come back in this room.
Are you ill, Denton? Is there something we can do? Stay right where you are. Both of you.
What is it?
I'm going into that room across the hall.
But why don't we all stay together? It's dark in here. I don't like it. I want you to stay near me.
I said I'm going into that room across the hall. And I'm going alone. Your brother Charles will take care of you. You prefer his company, don't you?
Is that what's wrong with you? Why do you act this way toward my brother?
You might as well make up your minds. Both of you. That we'll stay in this house until morning. I'm going into this room to sleep.
Denton?
It's no use.
He is ill.
He's got it in for me. Come on. Let's go back where the lamp is.
Listen. You hear what he's doing?
Barricading the door.
What does all this mean? Oh, Charles.
Let's get back to where the lamp is.
It's as if he's lost his mind.
Sit down. It's been coming on him for some time. Ever since he made that last trip through here. We know that.
What shall we do? Why did he go into that room and leave us?
As soon as we get into town, we'll persuade him to see a doctor. Let's make the best of it now. If he wants to leave us and sleep, let him.
Oh.
It's tough on you, Nan. I'm sorry I brought you all this trouble.
Denton's never been this way before. There's something dreadfully wrong. What was that?
Oh, is that Denton laughing?
No, it can't be. He's never laughed like that in his life.
Oh, it's coming from the room Denton went into. That's for sure.
He's going mad. Oh, Charles.
Come on. You'll have to let us in.
Denton? Denton, what is it?
Let us in. Dan, let us in.
Locked?
Bolted and barricaded.
Denton, please let us in. It is coming from in there. But it's not Denton. It can't be. Oh, what are we going to do? What shall we do?
Everything's all right now, Nan. He's quieted down.
He answered you the last time you went over to the room?
Yes. He said, I'm all right. Go away.
Oh.
I think he's going to sleep now. We might as well do the same.
I can't sleep in this horrible house.
Yes, you can. It'll only be a few hours before morning.
But what if Denton refuses to come out of that room in the morning?
He'll be better in the morning. The storm's passed over, too. Everything will seem different in the morning.
Leave the lamp burning. I'm scared.
Sure. I'll set it on the mantel. It won't bother our eyes, but it will shed some light.
Yes, that will be all right. You think Denton will sleep?
I think he's asleep now. I'd break the door down, Nan, if I thought it would do any good. But I think it's best to let him get over this spell by himself.
I'll never believe it was he laughing.
Who could it have been but Denton? Oh, now don't worry anymore. Try to get some sleep. If he calls out, I'll wake you up.
It seems like a nightmare, doesn't it?
It will in the morning. Everything will be different then. Go to sleep now. You need the rest.
What is it?
Wake up! There's someone standing over you.
What?
Wake up! There's someone standing over you. They're going to kill you. Go!
Good heavens. What is it? What was that?
Oh, Charlie. He stood right over you with his hands reaching out for you.
Who?
And when I screamed, he ran.
For heaven's sake, who?
He was going to kill you.
Who stood over Charles ready to kill him, eh? The hermit will tell you before the night is done.
Now, back to the hermit.
Terror-stricken Charles and Nan stand in the middle of the room in this strange house on Lost Man's Bluff, wondering who tried to kill Charles. Listen.
You mean you think it was...
I know it was Denton.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Denton trying to kill me.
I know it was he. With his hands reaching out for your throat.
Oh, no.
And when I screamed, he ran back into that room and closed the door. Charles, where are you going?
I'm going to get him out of that room before something really happens.
You mustn't go near him.
I've got to. No, you stay here.
Never. I'm going with you.
I'm going to make him let me in there.
He may try to kill you again.
I don't think he will. You stay behind me. Denton? Denton!
Denton!
The door's unlocked. Denton? Stay back, man. I'm going to light a match. Great heaven. Denton.
What is it?
Oh, get back. Don't look.
Why are you closing the door? What is it, Charles? What did you see?
No. Denton's...
Something's happened to him. Something's happened to Denton. What is it, Charles? Tell me quick. What is it?
Denton's hanged himself. Keep hold of yourself, Nan. We've got to get out of here. Down into town and get the authorities here.
Denton. Denton hanged himself.
Let's hope the car runs. We've got to get into town. The laughter again.
Look. Up at the top of the stairs.
What is it?
In this faint light, it looks like the figure of a man.
Yes, but you can see right through him. What? He's disappeared.
Standing there at the head of the stairs, pointing at us. Then vanished.
That same laughter.
Charles, you're not going up there. We're going to get out of this place right away and get help. Quick. Hurry, we must get help.
But I tell you, it's urgent. You've got to go up there right now.
Go up to that house on Lost Man's Bluff before daybreak?
Right now.
Oh, no. Not me.
But my husband is dead in that house.
Would never enter the door of that house at night. No, sir. Neither would anyone else in this town.
Denton is dead.
He ain't the first one to die up there.
What do you mean?
Ain't never heard of the house on Lost Man's Bluff?
No. We don't live around here.
Oh, well, that explains that.
What did you mean when you said that Denton was not the first man to die there?
5 years ago, a fella that owned that house killed his brother, then hanged himself.
What?
That's right. But hanging didn't seem to take him out of this world. Now, I ain't the only one that's been there, passed there at night and heard his wild laughter. It's fit to make the hair stand right up on a man's spine. Other folks tried to live in that house. But you know what happens to 'em when they go in a certain room in that house?
The room Denton tried to sleep in?
The desire to kill enters in them, and the laughter of him that belongs to the other world drives them mad. They can't get away from it. They return to the place.
Charles, that's what happened to Denton. He said he'd been in that house before.
They try to kill if there's anyone near to kill, and then they take their own lives. It's happened to 3 other people. One man got back to town and told his experience, but he went back up there a few weeks later and took his life, hanged himself. Oh, no, sir. You'll have to wait till morning. Won't get nobody to go up there in the night to that house on Lost Man's Bluff.
From the house on Lost Man's Bluff continues to pierce the night. Don't ever go near it after sundown. No. Turn on your lights. Turn them on. I'll be back. Pleasant dreams.
All characters, places, and occurrences mentioned in the Hermits Cave are fictitious, and similarity to persons, places, or occurrences is purely accidental.
Broadcasting System presents The Mysterious Traveler, written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Cohen, and starring one of radio's foremost actors, Chuck Webster, in The Man Who Knew Everything.
This is The Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, and it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can, as we join forces with a man who had unique powers which enabled him to accomplish tremendous good, or tremendous evil. I call his story A Man Who Knew Everything. My story begins in a small, very expensive nightclub, the Crystal Club. The room is crowded with men and women in evening dress, there to see and hear the star attraction, Randor the Mystic, mind reader extraordinary. In a small office with the door locked, Nick Thompson, owner of the club, and his press agent, Jerry Fenton, are in conference.
I don't like it, Jerry. I tell you I don't like it. The grand jury is all set to bring in an indictment against me. The heat's on and my contacts with City Hall are no good anymore.
Well, it seems to me, Nick, about 5 years ago, there was another grand jury camping on your trail. But all of a sudden, they lost interest, right?
Yes, that's right.
I sort of heard rumors that those grand jurors got a few anonymous phone calls suggesting what might happen if Nick Thompson was indicted.
They did. That's when they lost interest. But it won't work now, Jerry.
You're not turning soft, I hope.
Could I handle the gambling monopoly in this town if I was soft? You know me better than that.
Just the same if I were in your shoes.
Yeah, if you were in my shoes, what would you do, smart guy?
I'd make a few changes, Nick. I'd consolidate a couple of, well, should we call them business rivals?
You mean you'd try to take over Nobby Williams' rackets? Maybe Fat Boy Latimer's? Is that what you mean?
That's just what I mean. I've been wondering for 2 years why you let him alone.
You sap. Times have changed. This investigation proves it. If Alva started it, now every local prosecutor is starting a cleanup campaign of his own.
So?
Public attitude is different, too. I started putting the heat on Williams and Latimer now. This town will blow up right in all our faces.
You're wrong, Nick. Get strong enough and nobody can touch you, not even the public. Listen, if you controlled Rocky's mob and the Fat Boys organization, you'd be so powerful the governor himself wouldn't dare interfere with you.
Big talk for a pencil pusher. I asked you what's the dope down at headquarters, not for advice on how to run my business.
And I've told you. Down at headquarters, they're waiting to see which way the wind's blowing. If you can blow it your way hard enough, they'll coast along with you. But if you sit around chewing your nails until the grand jury finds a true bill against you, all of a sudden you won't have any friends.
Talk. Give me a concrete suggestion. That's what I want.
Must be some way to get at those grand jurors. Everybody has something in his life that he doesn't want known.
Those jurors are a hand-picked blue ribbon bunch. To pick up anything against them, you'd have to read their minds.
Read their minds? Very interesting idea, Nick. Maybe Randor, the mystic, could do it. If you put it to him right.
That Oriental faker. He's got a good act, but it's just an act.
Oh, you're wrong. I tried him out last night. He read my mind, Nick. Told me exactly what I was thinking, including a few thoughts that strictly weren't for publication.
Sucker. It's just a trick.
Okay, if you want to believe that. Well, if you're through weeping on my shoulder about the grand jury, let's step out and watch Randor put on his act.
No need to. I can switch on my loudspeaker in here and hear everything going on outside.
Very convenient.
Comes in handy. Yeah, there he is.
Gentlemen, I shall demonstrate the mystic powers which I bring from the sacred Orient. I shall not ask you to write questions on a piece of paper. Just think them. That is all. Think them, and I shall answer them.
What hooey. But they eat it up.
I tell you, it's not hooey.
I perceive a thought. A certain gentleman is wondering if his wife knows where he was last night. No, sir, she does not. Please, such trivial thoughts I must not waste my powers on them. Here is something else. Just a test, but it may convince you. The lady in the red dress wishes me to tell her what her automobile license number was in 1945. It was YX4590. Am I correct? She is not.
How do you explain that, except by mind reading?
She's a stooge, of course. Let's shut it off.
The lady in the red dress happens to be a friend of mine. I asked her to try out Randor with that question. She's no stooge.
Listen, if he's not a fake, why doesn't he use his mind reading to make some real dough? Could clean up at the races and the stock market.
Oh, the Swami's a dope. He says his power mustn't be used for personal gain. He sends all his earnings to the famine sufferers in India.
Oh, hooey. Forget Randor. What are we going to do about the grand jury?
I'll think of something. Oh, by the way, where's Randor live?
311 West Street. Why?
Just curious. Well, I'll drift along, Nick. Meanwhile, I'll work on your problem. From the nightclub, Jerry Fenton went directly to 311 West Street. There, he located Randor the Mystic's small apartment and let himself in with a pick lock. Once inside, he turned on a light and began searching the place. A thick manuscript in a desk drawer attracted his attention, and he settled himself to read it. But he was still reading an hour later when, unexpectedly, the door opened.
Who is here? Who is in my lodging?
Hello, Randor. Home early, aren't you?
Thanks. The press agent. For what purpose have you broken into my room?
Well, I've been meaning to have a little talk with you. I thought I'd drop in early and wait.
You are lying. You have my manuscript in your hands. The fruit of my life's experience.
Yes. Interesting reading. Saves me a lot of trouble.
Give it to me and go.
I don't think so, Randor. You see, in Chapter 5 here, you've outlined exactly how you manage your mind-reading trick. Very interesting. Now I savvy those cough drops you're always chewing. They're doped with a drug which sharpens your mind so that you can really catch what someone else is thinking.
That is true. It is a secret known only to qualified practitioners of the art of yogi. It is not for the multitude.
One person's no multitude. Meaning myself.
No. You must not tamper with such powers. Your knowledge is not great enough.
It's great enough to get me the right stuff from a drugstore to make a mind reader out of me, too. That's all I need, Randall.
No, I read your thoughts. They are evil. You wish power, wealth for yourself. You intend to use criminal methods to get them.
So what? Do you know a better way?
I cannot permit it.
You can't stop it, old man. I've got the secret now. That's all there is to it.
You must forget it or else you must die.
Hey, you're going to kill me with that little knife? You're making me laugh, Randor. No, take it. There. But I won't use it on you. I have a better idea. This pillow. Hold it over your face for a couple of minutes. Well, tomorrow the cops will think your ticker just gave out.
No, you dare not. This power you have stolen, it will turn on you. Men's thoughts are not to be trusted. You will discover.
Hey, you bastard. Sorry, Randor. Nothing stopping me now. I'm on my way to the top.
Jerry?
Oh, hello, Rocky. Nick in his office.
Yeah. He wants to see you. He's been wondering where you've been the last week.
Yeah, I've been busy.
He's kind of sore.
Yeah, it's too bad. I'll go in and cheer him up. Hello, Nick.
Brandon. Where the devil have you been?
Last place you'd look for me. Been down to the courthouse.
Courthouse?
Listening to the grand jury hearings.
Why weren't you where I could get a hold of you? Randall the Mystic conked out last week. Heart attack in his apartment.
Yeah, so I read in the paper.
Had to get another attraction fast. And I needed you to work up the publicity.
Well, I've been working on a more important problem. The grand jury's decided to indict you.
How do you know that? I mean, are you positive?
Yes, I'm positive. That's the problem I've been working on.
What do you mean?
I can fix that grand jury if I want to.
You can? How?
That's my secret. Now, the question is, what's it worth to you?
$5,000 cash on the line.
$5,000. Is that all 10 years in prison is worth to you?
Look, Jerry. You're working for me, understand? If you can fix the grand jury for me, I'm willing to give you a bonus. But you can't hold me up.
I want an equal partnership in all your operations. This club, your gambling concessions, everything.
A half interest? You must be nuts.
Well, if you go to jail, you lose everything. Well, is it a deal?
You're getting some big ideas, Jerry.
You don't know how big. Confidentially, Nick, I expect to be governor of this state someday.
Governor? You?
And I may go beyond that. But right now the question is, am I in for a half interest or not?
Okay. Deliver the goods and it's a deal.
All right, I'll start right now. I have here the names and phone numbers of 3 members of the grand jury. I'm going to phone them. You can listen in on the extension. The first one I'm going to call is Jones of Forbes. Well, listen in, Nick, but don't say anything.
Okay.
Hello, is this Mr. Jones? Well, this is a friend calling, Mr. Jones. I have some advice for you. Tomorrow, when the grand jury meets, you're going to prevent it from indicting a certain Nick Thompson. No, I'm not crazy. I'm just telling you, if you know what's good for you, you'll see no indictment is voted. Now, listen, Jones, let's get down to cases. You're a respectable citizen, but like a lot of other citizens, you've got woman trouble. Yeah, There's a little brunette in Boston you sort of drop in on every once in a while. Well, shall I give you her address? 91753 Boylston Street. Yeah. You'd like your wife to know about her? In the newspapers? I thought not. Okay, see that Nick Thompson doesn't get indicted, that's all.
Sounded scared. You had the goods on him, Jerry.
Sure, I had the goods on him. And that's a little secret he thought no other living soul knew about.
How did you find out?
Never mind that. And I got to call a couple of more jurors who also have their little secrets. And then we can talk, Nick. That's my final word, Wentworth. You help quash that indictment or I spill what I know. Now, goodbye. Well, Nick, you feel better now?
Gotta hand it to you, Jerry. You've got those 3 citizens buffaloed. I'll spill it. How'd you find out?
I hung around the courtroom, reading their minds.
Reading their minds? What kind of guff is that?
No, it's the truth. How else could I know?
I don't know, but if you expect me to believe that mind-reading, Huey...
Look, Nick, before Randor died, he passed on his little secret to me.
Randor? Told you how to read minds?
Well, there's nothing to it except concentration. Of course, you have to be close to whoever you're working on, but that's all.
I don't believe it.
How else would I know that you're still wanted for murder in California?
I'm what?
Pasadena, 1938. Shall I give you the details?
Now, wait a minute. This isn't a gag anymore.
It never was a gag. You see, Nick, you and I are going to get along fine because I have the goods on you. Just sitting here, I've been picking up your most secret thoughts.
In that case, you should have known about this gun. But you didn't.
Yes, I did, but you can't kill me.
You're not human. A bullet won't stop you like it will somebody else.
Sure it will, but that gun is busted. Been busted for weeks. You've just neglected to have it fixed.
Well, I'll be at it's busted. Rocky! Rocky, Brogan!
Yeah, Nick?
Come in. Close the door.
Sure, Nick. What's up?
Stanton here. He's gotten a few big ideas. Too big. We're going to have to cut him down to size.
You mean blast him?
He knows too much. And his mouth is too big. Let him have it, Rocky. Right now.
Well, gee, Jerry, you heard what Nick said? Yeah, I heard him. I guess we aren't friends anymore. So you'd better do as he says. Go ahead, shoot.
If that's how it's going to be... Wait a minute. You're pointing that gun at me. Rocky, you...
Sorry, Nick. Me and Jerry had a talk earlier. I'm working for him now. Good work, Rocky. The partnership idea would never work out anyhow. All right, now, after you've gotten rid of Nick, just start spreading the word to the boys that I'm running things now. Come in.
Hello, Jerry.
Oh, Rocky. Sit you down.
Thanks. I want to talk to you, Jerry.
Well, I'm rather busy, Rocky, unless it's something important.
It's pretty important. See, the boys are getting restless. They're waiting for you to deliver.
Waiting for me to deliver what?
And you know you said you were going to expand, take over Nobby Williams' territory and Fat Boy Latimer's.
Well, I'm already doing it, Rocky. I started a week ago.
Yeah, but how? You had a conference with Nobby and the Fat Boy, told him everything would stay just like it was.
Well, that's what I told him, Rocky. It doesn't have to be true.
I don't follow you.
Now, look. At that conference, I learned certain things.
Yeah?
Now, never mind how, but I learned. I learned about 2 murders for which Nobby Williams can get the chair. I discovered enough about Fat Boy Latimer's income tax cheating to get him 10 years at Leavenworth.
You did.
But I was there. I didn't hear you. Never mind what you did or didn't hear. I got the information. I gave it to the authorities days ago. As soon as they pin it down, Narby and the fat boy will be booted into jail. When that happens, their organizations fall into my lap just like ripe plums. Yeah, but can you be sure it'll work? It'll work. And it'll mean we don't have to fire a shot. The public will never know anything's happened. Now, there's only one drawback, though. It's going to take a little time. The boys will just have to be patient, that's all. Well, I suppose I can calm them down. But, Jerry, we got to have dough. We've been laying low since the big investigation started, not taking in anything. These boys have got to be paid. I know. What's our monthly payroll? About 50 grand. Need some capital for operations, too. Well, you see, Rocky, a little later I'm going into politics. Politics? In fact, I expect to be governor in about 5 years. Governor? You? Jerry, you sure you got all your marbles? Listen, Rocky, and get this straight. I have a way of learning anybody's most closely guarded secrets. Anybody's. Yeah, but Jerry... I told you about that little deal out in St. Paul, didn't I? The one where you started... Jerry, not so loud. Somebody might hear. I could get the chair for that. You will, too, if you step out of line. Now, tell me, how did I find out about it? I don't know. This was by magic. I just swore nobody... All right. Call it magic, if you want. Now, just think. Suppose I can find out the one thing any man, is afraid of having known. Well, then I got a handle over him, haven't I? I'll say you have. So I go to all the big politicians, one at a time. I convince them I know their entire past, every dirty deal they've ever been mixed up in. Well, they'd make you president to keep you quiet. That's what I'm figuring on. But that's for the future. Right now, I need quick money to operate on. Yeah, I could get it from Wall Street, but big financial deals sometimes take a year to set up. The boys won't wait that long. I know. So, you got any suggestions? Yeah, I do. Something I had my eye on for a long time. Only Nick wouldn't let me try it. A payroll stick-up. Payroll? Yeah. Well, maybe he just wants to get going, and if it's safe enough, it'll be a cinch. It's the S&J company across the river. Every Friday they send an armored truck to the bank, pick up $125 grand, cart it back. If we could pick off that truck some nice, safe way... $125. That's right. All right, Rocky, I'll look into it. And for a beginning, I'm going over to talk to the treasurer of the S&J company. Yes, I may be able to learn a lot from him. Yeah, Jerry?
Come in, will you, Rocky?
Right away, Jerry. Close the door, Rocky. I got some dope for you. You mean about that payroll job? That's it, yeah. It's all set. Now, this is Friday. By 10 p.m., we'll have that payroll. Have you got it figured to take the armored car? We don't need to. Don't need to? But for your information, the money is not carried in the armored car. That's a bluff. A bluff? The payroll's actually delivered in an old truck marked Tropical Linen Supply Company. You're kidding. An hour after the armored car leaves, the laundry truck drives up at the rear of the bank. The driver, he's a little man wearing horn-rimmed glasses, carries in a bundle of clean towels, comes out with a bag of dirty ones. The payroll's hidden among the dirty towels. How'd you find all that out? I talked to the S&J treasurer. The rest is my secret. Okay, Jerry. Okay. So tonight, follow the laundry truck. Pick it up. Take it to our own garage. Get the payroll, then get rid of the truck and driver. After that, report back to me. Well, if you can work like this all the time, Jerry. Yeah. Why stop at becoming president?
I think the driver of that truck is getting wise. We're following him, Mike. Yeah, speeding up a little. Now move up and cut him off. It's time to take him. Okay, swing in. Swing in. Toss him to the curb. All right, that does it. I'll take him. You follow. Okay, fellas, sit tight. You won't get hurt.
What's the meaning of this? I don't understand.
You will fast enough. Now move over. I'm getting in.
But you can't. This is my truck. Oh, a gun.
Now, Buster, you and me are going for a nice little ride. I'm the new paymaster. I'm picking up that payroll you're getting back.
You're crazy. I haven't got any payroll, just dirty towels.
Yeah. We'll see, Buster. We'll see. Yes, who is it?
Rocky Brogan.
Oh, come in, Rocky. You're back quick. Who's that you got with you? I'm inside. Come on,
You're
inside.
making a mistake. You're making a terrible mistake.
Rocky, what is this? This is the driver of the linen supply truck. The one you said carried the payroll. Well, we took the truck to the garage. We searched every bag of dirty towels. The money was not there. It had to be.
I don't know anything about a payroll. This is all an error, really it is. Now, please, let me go.
How about it, Jerry? The boys are saying you pulled a bone. I'll find out in a hurry. Rocky, you wait outside while I talk to this man. Okay. But I hope you haven't made any mistake, Jerry. For your sake. All right now, my friend. We can get the truth.
I've told you the truth. I've told it over and over. I deliver towels. I don't know anything about a payroll. Nothing at all.
I can't be wrong. Let me see where my cup goes. Here there. Yeah. Now we can talk. Where is that payroll?
How often must I tell you you're making an awful mistake? If you want money, I've got $10 on me. That's...
Well, so that's the answer. Very clever, aren't you?
What do you mean?
The laundry bag with the payroll in it is hidden in a special compartment underneath the floor of that truck. No wonder Rocky couldn't find it.
No. You can't know that. That compartment was my own idea. Nobody in the world but me knows about it.
I know about it. Just as I know anything I need to. Including the fact you're hiding a .25 caliber pistol inside your waistband.
You knew that? You should have done something about it. Now it's too late. I've got you covered.
So you have.
You gotta let me go, do you hear? Or I'll shoot. I'll kill you.
Then shoot. Go ahead, shoot.
I warn you. Let me go or I will shoot.
My friend, you can't shoot. You've never fired a gun in your life. You bought that gun from your brother-in-law 2 years ago. Just to carry to scare off possible thieves. But you've never even loaded it. You can't shoot because the gun isn't loaded.
How do you know all that?
Because I can read your thoughts. But give me that gun.
No.
Then we'll get to that pay.
No, I warn you, stand back.
Shot the eye. Oh.
What happened in here?
Jerry.
Dead. I killed him. The gun was loaded after all, and I thought it was empty. All the time I thought it was empty.
This is the mysterious traveler again. Poor Jerry. He was all set to become the greatest man in the world. Now he's just another name in the secretary. So that's what Randor, the mystic, meant when he
said men's thoughts are not to be trusted. When a man doesn't even know his gun is loaded, what good is it to read his mind? But perhaps Jerry's fate will be a lesson to you. Don't depend on someone else to do your thinking for you, because sometimes you may find... Oh, you'll have to get off here. I'm sorry. I'm sure we'll meet again. I take this same train every week at this same time.
You have just heard The Mysterious Traveler. You can enjoy other adventures of The Mysterious Traveler in The Mysterious Traveler magazine. In our cast were Chuck Webster, Santos Ortega, Brett Morrison, and Maurice Tarplin, who played the title role. Original music by Fred Mendelssohn. All characters in this story were fictitious, and any resemblance to actual persons living or dead was purely coincidental. Tonight, The Mysterious Traveler salutes radio station WJZM in Clarksville, Tennessee. WJZM today marks its 10th anniversary of service to the Queen City of the Cumberland. Phil Tonkin speaking. This program came to you from New York. For news as it happens, from where it happens, listen to the Mutual Newsreel every weekday evening over most of these same Mutual stations. Mutual Newsreel listeners hear the actual voices of the people who make the news, recorded on the spot for transmission to you with all the breathtaking drama of news in the making. So for a program of news with dynamic impact, news you hear happen from where it happens, listen to the Mutual Newsreel every weekday evening over most of these same stations. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Adam Patz presents The Strange Dr. Weird.
Good evening. Come in, won't you? You seem a bit nervous. Perhaps the cemetery outside this house has upset you. But there are things far worse than cemeteries. Such things as dark, forbidding swamps, stretching for hundreds of miles and inhabited by snakes and mosquitoes and alligators, as in the story I want to tell you tonight. A story I call Death in the Everglades. My story begins in the vast shadowy wastes of the Florida Everglades. A small dugout glides through the dark swamp water, poled along by a weather-beaten guide. The guide's passengers, Gerald Drake and his wife Kitty, sit nervously in the center of the dugout, subdued by their strange and uncanny surroundings.
Gerald, how much further do we have to go? It's been 2 hours now since we left the mainland.
I'll see. Guide, how much further is it to my uncle's home?
It ain't much further. Just a small piece.
Gerald, are you sure your Uncle Jason has money?
Well, up until my mother died a year ago, Uncle Jason was sending her $500 a month. And he owns thousands of acres of valuable Florida property.
If he has money, why should he choose to live here all alone in these horrible swamps?
Because he's an eccentric.
Oh, Gerald, please, let's turn back. This horrible dark swamp with its alligators and snakes frightens me. I have a feeling that something dreadful will happen if we don't turn back.
Don't be a fool, Kitty. We can't turn back. We're broke, do you understand that? Uncle Jason is our last hope. We must go on.
Why have you come here, Gerald?
Well, after all, Uncle Jason, I am your only living relative, and Well, I wanted to find out how you were getting along.
Gerald worries about your living here alone in the swamp.
I'll always live here in the swamp. Always. Quiet and peaceful here. I have my friends.
Your friends?
Yes. Didn't you see them as you came here? Singing in the trees, swimming in the water. I know them all. They're my friends. They protect me from harm like true friends do.
Yes, of course, Uncle. I
know why you come here. You want money. That's why you come here, isn't it?
Well, yes. You see, Uncle Jason, we...
Get out! Get out, you hear? I won't give you a cent, not a cent.
But, Uncle Jason, after all, you must remember that I'm your only...
Leave my house at once! Get out!
We can't. The guide won't be back until 4 o'clock this afternoon to take us to the mainland.
Very well, then. You must stay here until he comes. I'm going out now, and when I come back at sundown, I don't want to find either of you here.
Gerald, what are you doing?
I'm trying to break the lock on this metal cash box.
Cash box?
Yes, my darling. A short talk with Uncle Jason convinced me that he kept his money someplace in this house. It wasn't too difficult to find his cash box. If my dear uncle won't part with his money willingly, he's going to have to part with it unwillingly.
My cash box! What are you doing with it?
Uncle Jason.
You're home a bit early, aren't you, Uncle Jason?
You're trying to rob me. You're like all the others. No, I won't let you rob me. Give me my box. Give me my
I don't like to do this, Uncle Jason, but I must have that money, understand? Come on now.
You mean to kill me. You'll never get away with my box.
Give me that.
I find you in the swamp. There, see you don't. You'll never leave the swamp. Never you.
Very well, Uncle. If you insist.
Let go of him. Let go or you'll kill him.
That's exactly what I'm doing. You're the one who's never going to leave the swamps, Uncle. You're going to stay here with your friends forever. While I go back to the mainland with your money. There.
Gerald, you killed him. You killed him. They'll send us to prison for this.
Don't be a fool. If anyone should come looking for Uncle Jason, they won't find a trace of him.
What do you mean?
I'm going to get rid of dear Uncle Jason. Yes. Give me a hand with this body, Kitty. We're taking Uncle Jason to his friends.
How much further do we have to carry him?
This is far enough, darling. Just set him down here.
Here? Where the water's edge?
Yeah. It'll do perfectly. Strap his legs.
Here.
That's it. There we are.
Sure, you aren't just going to leave him here, are you?
Why, of course, darling. Uncle Jason's friends will look after him.
His friends?
Why, yes. We'll go over there. See him swimming this way?
Alligators. Monster alligators. Gerald, they're coming up out of the water.
Yes, so they are.
Look. One of them is crawling up to Uncle Jason's body. He's going to...
Yes. Goodbye, Uncle Jason.
Our mystery will be continued in a moment. But, Dr. Weird, if you'll come over here, I have a mystery of my own.
Mystery is my business, young man.
All right, here's the clue. The number 5.
5 dead men?
Oh, no, I'm afraid you're wrong, Doctor. I'm talking about the famous Adam 5, the quality hat made of all fur felt. Available at the thousands of Adam hat stores and authorized dealers all over the country for only $5. And it's far from dead. In fact, it's the liveliest number you've ever seen, mister. Why not step into an Adam hat shop and prove it to yourself? Try on your size in a famous Adam 5. Examine its snappy style, its lively color, the look of distinction. You don't have to be a master detective to see that in quality and style, an Adam is America's top hat. Now, Dr. Weird.
And now I'll finish my story, Death in the Everglades. An hour after Uncle Jason's death, Gerald and Kitty sat on Jason's dock, waiting for the guide to arrive. While they waited, Gerald tried to break open the metal cash box, but without success. Suddenly, they heard a shout.
Hello there! Sorry if I kept you folks waiting. Just hop in the dugout. We're on our way back to the mainland. It's getting dark in a few hours. You don't want to be caught in it.
What are you staring at?
That box you got there. That's the box your uncle keeps his money in. I've seen it when he's giving me money for provisions. What are you doing with it?
That's my business, and I don't have to explain it to you.
So if you want me to take you in my dugout of the mainland...
Perhaps this will help you change your mind about that.
Good.
Yeah. Now, if you value your life, you'll have us on the mainland within 2 hours. 2 hours, you understand? The 2 hours are almost up. Why haven't we reached the mainland? It's already dark.
It's just a small piece beyond this island we're passing.
Yeah, Kitty. In a few minutes, we'll be on the mainland.
But, Gerald, the guide will go to the local sheriff and tell him everything.
Don't you worry about the guide. I'll take care of him. That fool! Why's he going so close to the island? Have us drown if he doesn't want...
Gerald, he's gone. He's not in the boat.
Gone? Hey, you're right. He must have swung on an overhead branch as we were passing the island.
Gerald, there he is. He's standing in that small clearing on the island.
Find your own way to the mainland, you thieving murderers! I'll never take you there!
Oh, Gerald, what will we do without him?
Kitty, get hold of yourself. We're going to reach the mainland safely.
Oh, but how can we find our way? The sun's setting. It's already dark here in the swamp. We may be miles from safety. Miles of these tiny winding streams. These horrible cypress trees growing together over our heads, so we can't see where we're going.
Stop it, Kitty! Listen to me. We're not in any danger, do you hear me? I admit that we can't get out of the swamp tonight. But all we have to do is stay right here in the dugout until morning. When it's light again...
No, we'll never find our way out. Even the guides get lost in the Everglades sometimes. Anyway, they won't let us go. They'll stop us just like he said.
Who'll stop us?
Uncle Jason's friends. Listen to them. All around us. Waiting for us. Look there in the water. They're coming for us. The alligator.
Kitty, you mustn't say that. We're going to make it, do you hear me? Or we'll be rich. There's a fortune in this cash box. I'll open it for you. Then you'll see how rich we are. Here. It's a hard lock to pick off. Maybe I can shoot it open. Kitty, the lock's broken. Kitty, look. Money.
Money?
Yeah. It's 50, 100, 150, 200... 210.
I mean, there's only $210 in that box.
Yeah, but look. There's a paper in the box. He'll probably tell us where the rest of the money's hidden. Come on, let's see. It's a real estate deed. 20,000 acres. Assessed value, $1,000. No, can't be.
Your uncle was a wealthy man. He had money and land. He has $210 and 20,000 acres of worthless swamp.
What? There must be more than this. There's got to be.
Stand up, Gerald. Look around you. 20,000 acres of worthless swamp. It's all yours, Gerald. And we committed murder to get it.
Hey, sit down. Sit down. You hear me? You'll turn the dugout over.
They're lost in your vast kingdom full of snakes and alligators. Why don't you ask one of your loyal subjects how to get to the mainland? Go ahead, Gerald.
Tilly, look out. We'll turn it over. Kitty, are you all right?
Where are you?
Here I am, hanging on the dugout. Swim over this way. Kitty, listen, church bells. They're ringing in the village church in the mainland. We can't be more than a few hundred yards from the mainland.
Well, that means we'll be able to reach the mainland.
Yeah. All we have to do is ride the dugout and...
Something's up against me.
Kitty, where are you? What happened? No!
Too bad about poor Gerald and Kitty, isn't it? Such a nice young couple. But so unlucky. How were they to know that Uncle Jason's cash box it contained only a few $100s and a deed to some worthless swampland? And then to die in such a horrible way, only a few 100 yards from safety, in the jaws of Uncle Jason's friends, the alligators. You know, it occurs to me that perhaps Uncle Jason buried his fortune someplace in the swamps. Perhaps you'll be interested in going with me to the Everglades to search for it. Oh, you have to go now. Too bad. But perhaps you'll drop in on me again soon. I'm always home. Just look for the house on the other side of the cemetery. The house of Dr. Weird.
Unsolved Mysteries. Out of deference to people who may still be living, character names in some of these unsolved mysteries have been changed. The fact that a man may be arrested, tried, convicted, and sentenced for the crime of murder does not always, at least to everyone's satisfaction, mean the solution of a murder mystery. Particularly so is this the case in the trial of Oscar Slater. And to those lovers of the great character Sherlock Holmes, it must be of interest to know that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle spent 17 years of his life trying to prove that Oscar Slater did not commit murder, a murder that to this day is one of Scotland Yard's unsolved mysteries. The scene is Glasgow, Scotland, the night of December 21st. Thick, soot-laden fog swirls along the dimly lighted streets. A fog so thick that it deadens even that roar of traffic which rises perpetually from Glasgow's teeming thoroughfares. Outside 15 Queen's Terrace, a street lamp throws a grayish-yellow circle on the damp pavement. But inside number 15 Queen's Terrace, an apartment house.
What the deuce is that?
Sounds as if it came from Miss Gilchrist.
But Miss Gilchrist would hardly be making that noise.
The servant Lambie could.
I'm going up there. I don't like it.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Adams.
Good evening, Lambie. You weren't by any chance chopping wood or something upstairs?
Oh, no, Mr. Adams. I've been down to the corner for the evening paper.
Who's up there? Coming out of Miss Gilchrist's apartment.
Oh, I don't know. I never saw him before.
Let's go up there. I don't like the look of things.
Oh, the door's open, and I left it closed.
I don't see Miss Gilchrist in the living room. Oh.
What is it? Oh, what is it?
Look behind the dining table.
Oh, is she dead?
Yes. That man. The man we saw leave the room. Stop him. Stop him. Police, murder. Stop that man.
But the man had gone. All trace of him swallowed up in the rolling bank of fog. 15 minutes later, the police, the examining doctor for the Crown, and the detective inspector are on the scene of the crime.
Now, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Have the boys check up every boarding house, hotel, everything, and find out every single person who has checked out in the past hour and from now on.
Yes, sir. Anything else, sir?
Check steamship passengers.
Of course, sir.
Pawnbrokers. Keep a lookout for pieces of jewelry such as you see in that photograph on the piano. That photograph of Miss Gilchrist.
At once, sir.
Finished, Doctor?
Yes, Inspector. How did the murderer get in here? Both doors can only have been opened from the inside.
Let the newspapers work that out. I'm a police inspector. All I want is the murderer.
24 hours later in the Glasgow Police Headquarters, the detective inspector sits behind a table going through the mass of information unearthed by his department. A sergeant of police bursts excitedly into the room, a piece of brown wrapping paper in one hand, a ship's sailing and passenger list in the other.
Inspector, look here.
What is it, Sergeant?
Found this wrapping paper in a flat vacated late last night.
Yes, what is it?
It's from a jeweler, evidently used to wrap a watch or something about that size. Name on the label, Oscar Slater.
Yes, go on.
Slight build, nervous, foreign-looking. Fits the description of the murderer given by Lambie. Then this, the shipping list of the Empress of Calcutta. Third-class passage booked next day. The day following the murder. 2 persons, Otto Sando and wife.
Oscar Slater. Otto Sando. Good work, Sergeant. I'll cable the United States and have the New York police hold Mr. Otto Sando for identification.
The New York police arrested Otto Sando, who turned out to be Oscar Slater. A month later, the prisoner was shipped back to Scotland. And in May, in the High Court of Scotland, Oscar Slater was tried before my Lord Guthrie.
The witness Lambie to the stand, please. You've been duly sworn.
Yes, my lord.
On the night of the murder, you saw the murderer leave Miss Gilchrist's room.
May it please your lordship, I protest. The witness is not competent to judge whether or not the person seen leaving the murdered woman's room is or was the murderer.
I'll put the question in this manner. You would recognize the person you saw leaving Miss Gilchrist's room?
Yes, my lord.
Is he in the court?
He is, my lord. He is a prisoner.
That is all.
Learned counsel for the defense may question the witness on behalf of the prisoner.
Thank you, my lord. Lambie, I wish you to be very careful in your answers. You say that the prisoner at bar is the man you saw leaving Miss Gilchrist's flat?
Yes, my lord.
How do you recognize him?
By his features.
Nothing else?
I don't understand.
In New York, you identified the prisoner by his peculiar walk. I'm reading from your deposition taken at that time. I recognized the prisoner by the peculiar walk. I did not see his features.
I did not see his features clearly.
And your identification today is more clear than of 1 month ago? That is all. You may stand down.
Mr. Adams to the stand. You understand that the oath taken yesterday is still binding upon you?
Yes, my lord.
You saw the man the Crown contends was the murderer leaving Miss Gilchrist's flat?
Yes, my lord.
Is he in court?
Yes, my lord. He is the prisoner.
That is all.
Your witness, counsel for the defense.
Adams, learned counsel for the Crown has asked you definitely if the prisoner at bar is the man you saw leaving Miss Gilchrist. Do you swear positively and absolutely that he is the man?
I'm a little nearsighted, my lord. I should not care to swear at this distance.
Go to the prisoner. Look him in the face. He is on trial for his life. Much depends upon your answer. Will you swear that that is the man?
My lord, to the best of my belief, this is the man.
Defense thanks the witness for his fair-mindedness. He may stand down.
May it please the court, the Crown rests its case upon the evidence presented.
Then learned counsel for the Crown may address the jury.
I thank his lordship. You have heard these witnesses swear that the prisoner, Oscar Slater, is the man seen leaving Miss Gilchrist's flat. I come next to the prisoner's guilty flight, for guilty it was. An honest man does not engage passage on a vessel in an assumed name, not after the hue and cry has been raised about a brutal murder. It is always a painful duty to plead with a jury to condemn a man to death. But in this case, I say to you, with every fiber of my being, that...
As counsel for the defense, I say that the Crown has not even attempted to show how the prisoner attained entrance to Miss Gilchrist's flat. The door to the apartment house was locked with a spring lock. The prisoner had not any means of obtaining a key. Not only that, but the prisoner, supposing that he had obtained entrance to the apartment house, had no means of entering Miss Gilchrist's flat, unless she herself admitted him. And, gentlemen of the jury, Miss Gilchrist was found lying before the hearth in the dining room. She would have screamed long ere that had she been afraid. And I say to you, gentlemen of the jury, that one fact alone clears the prisoner, because the murderer, gentlemen, was someone known to Miss Gilchrist, since she never would have admitted the murderer without protest. Gentlemen, I have finished. The life of a man, a human being, is in your hands.
The jury may retire to consider their verdict.
Stay close. We'll be back with the verdict and more of our Unsolved Mystery right after this break. And now let's return to Unsolved Mysteries on When Radio Was.
On such evidence, then, did the jury retire to consider a verdict. Both the police and the prosecution completely ignored the difficulty of the murderer's access to the murdered woman's apartment. But the jury was absent just 1 hour and 10 minutes. And now they are again in the jury box.
Gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have, my lord. We find the prisoner as charged. Guilty.
My lord, may I say one word? Will you allow me to speak?
I think learned counsel for the defense should instruct his client. But if he insists, I shall allow him to talk.
My lord, what shall I say? My father and mother are poor people. I come of my own free will from America. I come to defend my right. I know nothing about it. I come from America. I know nothing about this murder.
Prisoner at the bar, you have been found guilty of murder. You will be taken from this courtroom to the place whence you came, and thence to a place of lawful execution, where you will be hanged by the neck till you be dead. 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 And may God have mercy on your soul.
But Oscar Slater did not hang. People who saw in the case a mystery not to be solved by the mere bringing in of a verdict of guilty appealed to the Home Secretary, and the prisoner's sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. Oscar Slater served 17 years in prison. Today he is free, absolved of the crime, and the British government, in recognition of the miscarriage of justice, awarded him a considerable sum of money. In just a moment, you will hear a solution to the trial of Oscar Slater. Ladies and gentlemen, inasmuch as any solution must of necessity be supposition, liberties of time, place, and characters have been taken in this solution for which you have been waiting. We return you to the High Court of Scotland, where my Lord Guthrie, presiding at the trial of Oscar Slater, sums up the evidence before the jury. In his lordship's summing up lies the solution as to how the murderer gained access to Miss Gilchrist's home.
order in the court.
Learned counsel for the defense has no other motion to make before the bench addresses the jury.
No, my lord.
Counsel for the Crown has no additional evidence.
No, my lord.
As presiding judge in this case, I do not feel that it is necessary to dwell upon the seriousness of the crime or the importance of your verdict. The learned counsel for the defense has made an issue of the fact that Oscar Slater could not gain access to the murdered woman's home. But, gentlemen, I would be delinquent in my duty if I did not point out to you that that was not the impossibility it seems. In the first place, it must be borne in mind that it was not a key which was required to gain admittance to Miss Gilchrist's house. That is, to open the front door. There was a speaking tube arrangement whereby the caller could speak to the inhabitant of any particular apartment. The occupant of the apartment, satisfied that he or she wished to see the caller, would then pull a release which opened the catch on the front door. This was the defense point when they maintained that the murderer must have been known to Miss Gilchrist in order to have gained admittance. A study of human frailties, though, will show that this does not necessarily apply. Undoubtedly, Lambie the maid, going as she did each night for an evening paper, would upon occasion forget her latchkey. What then would she do? She would ring the bell. Tell Miss Gilchrist through the speaking tube arrangement that she had forgotten her key, and Miss Gilchrist would then release the door catch. After this had occurred many times, as it must have over a period of years, Miss Gilchrist would, if the bell were rung immediately after Lambie's departure, release the door catch without question. This, then, was what the murderer was waiting for. The murderer undoubtedly had watched the inhabitant for a period of time, and one night, the night of the murder, Lambie the maid left to get the evening paper. The murderer stepped quickly to the door and rang the bell. Miss Gilchrist, thinking that once again Lambie had forgotten her key, would release the catch, leave the apartment door open. The murderer would enter, and in a few moments everything would be over.
And so a judge on the bench solved the real mystery as to how Miss Gilchrist was murdered. But to this day, no one knows who the actual murderer was. And to the Glasgow police, the famous Oscar Slater case is still an unsolved mystery.
Autolite and its 96,000 dealers bring you Mr. Richard Widmark in tonight's presentation of Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite presents a dramatization of Walter Van Tilburg Clark's Study in Panic, The Track of the Cat, starring Mr. Richard Widmark.
Hello, Mr. Wilcox. Well, gas me up if it isn't Sam, my Autolite spark plug man. How's it going, Sam?
Great. You mean my exclusive Autolite plug check indicator?
Ah, that super sleuth is really doing a job, eh, Sam?
You bet. It quickly and accurately shows my customers if their car's spark plugs need cleaning, or if they're worn out or wrong for their style of driving.
And if they need cleaning, Sam?
Why, then I do the job fast and fine with my modern equipment.
And if those spark plugs are worn out or wrong?
Oh, you know the answer, Mr. Wilcox.
I sure do, Sam. You install ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs for smoother performance, quick starts, and gas savings. So, friends, take a tip from me and visit your nearest Autolite spark plug dealer. You can learn his location by calling Western Union by number and asking for Operator 25. She will quickly tell you the location of your nearest Autolite spark plug dealer. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with The Track of the Cat and the performance of Mr. Richard Widmark, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
Gotta get this fire going. I got it. It's my last chance. I'll freeze to death out here tonight if I don't. That or be cat meat. Snow. Nothing but snow. And that black murdering devil waiting out there in the dark for me. That big black cat waiting for his chance. Ah, there she goes. That'll hold Mr. Cat for a while. Cats are afraid of fire. Even big black ones. Even a big black panther big as a horse won't fool around a fire, no, sir. Oh, what am I talking about? Where are you going to find a black panther on a range in Nevada? Mountain lion, that's all he is. Big, maybe, but just a plain mountain cat, and that's all. Nothing but superstition, all that other talk. Crazy Indian superstition. Yeah. Fire sure makes a man feel good. Good. Kind of drowsy. No sleep, though. Mustn't go to sleep. That's all that cat's waiting for out there in the trees. Me to go to sleep and the fire go out. Gotta keep awake. Gotta do something to keep awake. Think about tracking the cat. How I got started. 2 days, 2 nights. Almost 3 nights ago. 5 o'clock in the morning. Asleep in the bunkhouse with a storm beginning outside, but me not hearing it. Not hearing anything, because I was asleep. So sound. Kurt. Wake up. Wake up, Kurt. Arthur. What's the matter? What's the matter with you? Cows are balling up in the canyon. Something's out. Oh, for Pete's sake. You have to wake me up every time you have one of your crazy dreams. Go back to bed.
It's no dream, Kurt.
Oh, you too, Hal, huh?
You only hear it when the wind's right. Listen.
Well, how long's that been going on? Why didn't you let me know sooner?
We've just been awake a few minutes. We wanted to be sure.
A few minutes. And that going on all the time? Fine couple of brothers I got to help me run a ranch. One good for nothing but dreaming, and the other good for nothing but thinking about that gal of his.
Let's leave her out of it, huh?
How can I leave her out of it? You practically moved her into the house, didn't you?
Quit ragging the kid, Kurt. She's just here for a visit. You know that.
Yeah. Well, get your clothes on. What are you standing there for? You think that cat's going to wait for us?
You figure it is a cat?
What else could it be, running cattle like that? Or maybe you think it's that Black Panther Joe Sam talks about, huh? I swear, Arthur, sometimes I think you're as crazy as that crazy old Indian.
Could be. Could be that me and Joe Sam are just the ones that ain't crazy.
Indian lover and cat lover. But don't think you ain't going to go out there with me because you are.
Any way you want it, Kurt. I'll go with you, Kurt.
Oh, no. No, you got to stick around and take care of that gal. Yeah, listen to that. We woke the old lady up. She's come down to the kitchen. Suppose now she's going to give me some kind of argument.
Why you always got to pick on everybody, Kurt? First Gwen, now Molly.
What's the matter, Hal? You worried about me and that gal Gwen of yours? Huh? Come on, let's go. Up kind of early, ain't you, Ma?
Hi, Ma.
I figured you'd be wanting breakfast.
This coffee. Some cat's running the cattle up in the canyon.
I heard. You going up there?
Well, you don't think I'm going to sit around here on my hands while some thieving mountain cat kills off our best steers, do you?
Well, sit down, all of you. Here's your coffee.
Thank you, Ma. Thanks, Ma.
Kurt.
What?
I don't want for you to go. I suppose what I got to say don't carry much weight around here, but I don't want for you to go.
Well, I'm going. And so's your dreamer boy, Arthur.
It's starting a blizzard out, Kurt, and a bad one.
I've been out in a little snow before, ain't I?
Well, it ain't the same. It's the first snow of the year.
No, I thought so. You've been talking to that crazy old Indian, too, haven't you?
Well, I ain't either. Can't nobody hardly talk to him today, the shape he's in.
All spooked up again, huh? Black Panther's first snow. And you believe in it.
Where is he, Ma?
Oh, I told him to fetch some wood, to get him inside. Wonder he ain't froze to death out there half the night and nothing but his shirt and jeans and them little thin moccasins.
Maybe I better go get him.
Will you sit down and drink your coffee? We gotta be leaving here in a Well, if it ain't our little lady visitor.
Good morning.
Hello, honey. Morning, Gwen.
Come sit down. Have some hot coffee, child.
Thank you.
No need for you to got up this early, you know.
Maybe she got up special just to see us off.
See, who off? Where?
Oh, mountain cats after the cattle. Kurt's bound they're going up there to get him.
Oh, Hal.
In this storm?
Don't worry about your precious Hal. I'm leaving him here to take care of you.
I said I'd go, didn't I?
Besides, if it is that spook panther at Joe Sam's, I'll need Arthur here to make big medicine. He's almost as good at that Indian medicine as Joe Sam himself, ain't you, Art, huh?
You never will learn not to ride a good thing too hard, will you, Kurt?
I guess I'm a little confused. Spook panthers, Indian medicine?
No, it's nothing, honey. It's just Kurt's little joke.
Yeah.
Here's Joe Sam.
Close the door after him, Hal.
Sure, Ma.
That's right. Now, go on. Just dump it in the wood box, Joe Sam. That's right. Now, drink this hot coffee. For land's sakes, you're shaking like a leaf. Joe Sam, here, coffee.
Yeah, he don't want no coffee. He don't even hear you. He just wants to sit there and go off into one of them trances of his. Hey, Joe Sam. You seeing that spook panther now, Joe Sam?
Leave him alone, Kurt.
I do wish somebody would tell me what this is all about. Unless it's a family secret.
Well, there, you hear that, Joe Sam? Go ahead. Tell the little lady about that big old black spook. It looks like I'll have to do the honors myself. You see, it's this way, little lady. According to Joe Sam, there's a black panther roams this part of the country, comes with the first snow every year. And he's big as a horse, and eyes like coals of fire. And you can see right through him. And you can shoot right through him, too. And still he'll keep coming until he gets you, because he can't never die. He's a spook.
Kind of frightening.
Yeah, for old women and for dreamers, maybe. Come on, dreamer boy, let's go. Suppose you're going to wear that old cowhide parka, too. Makes you look even more like a medicine man.
Keeps me warm.
Oh, be careful. Please. And don't stay out there beyond nightfall.
Yeah, sure.
We will, Ma.
Arthur.
Well, come to life, did he?
Arthur, no go.
It's all right, Joe Sam.
No, Arthur, not. Please, no go.
I got to, Joe Sam. We both do.
Will you come on and stop palavering with that old fool?
All right, Kurt, all right.
You go, Arthur?
Got to. But don't you worry.
Then you go. But you not come back. You not ever come back.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Richard Widmark in The Track of the Cat. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Sam, my Autolite spark plug man, why do you recommend ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs?
Why, that's easy, Mr. Wilcox. It's because
they're designed by the same skilled Autolite engineers who design the coil, distributor, and all the other important parts of complete ignition systems used as original equipment on many leading makes of our finest cars, trucks, and tractors. Eh, Sam?
That's right. Those Autolite spark plugs are designed to work as a team with the complete ignition system. Take the new Autolite resistor spark plug, for instance.
It gives smoother performance, greater gas savings, and quicker starts. And it's only one of a complete line of ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs designed for every use.
So, see your nearest Autolite spark plug dealer soon.
Right. Your Autolite spark plug dealer's exclusive plug check indicator will quickly show you if your spark plugs are right for your style of driving. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Richard Widmark in Elliot Lewis's production of The Track of the Cat, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Even after we was saddled up and heading out across the range, I was still laughing to myself at what the old man had said to Arthur about not coming back, and how solemn he said it. I tried to get a look at Arthur to see how he was taking it, but you never could tell with that one. Well, we hit the draw that leads into the canyon about daylight. It's a real box canyon with a steep slope to the north and a sheer drop off the east face. We couldn't hear the cattle now, but we could see their tracks in the snow where they was heading up the canyon. And then I saw what I've been looking for. Hey, look! Look at that. You see them tracks?
Cat, all right. Big one.
Yeah. Pretty near as big as a horse at that. But you won't see through the cat that made them tracks. He's real enough. Well, come on. Most like he's still up there. Not what he does them fool horses.
Look, up ahead.
What? It's a steer. He's dead and with his neck broke by the looks.
That's what ails the horse. They don't like the blood.
Yeah.
Look up there. You're right.
2 more. That's 3 of my best steers. Oh, he's been up here killing for fun.
Don't look like he's up here now, though. There goes the track up in North Slope.
Yeah, he's gone, all right, but he ain't been gone long. Track's as fresh and clear as print on a page. I'm going after him.
You'll need snowshoes. You'll need grub. I'll go back after it if you like.
I'll go myself if it's all the same. You stay here and hold the trail.
Either way.
No, not either way. That way. Unless you're worrying about what Joe Sam said.
I'm not worrying.
And don't go dreaming off, because I want you to be here when I get back.
I'll be here.
All right, then. Keep your eyes open.
Sure. And Kurt.
Yeah?
If I were you, I'd leave Hal's girl alone.
A smart one. A real smart one. Like he was reading my mind. He knew I wanted to get that gal off by herself. And with Ma taking care of her housework and Hal out doing the chores, he knew I'd have my chance. And that's just how it happened, too. Because a little while later, I was sitting in the kitchen at the ranch. Nobody there but old Joe Sam. Of course, he didn't matter. And little Gwen sitting right across the table from me.
But how did such a story ever get started? About the panther?
Joe Sam says he's seen it. Joe Sam says this old spook panther up and killed his wife and all his kids about 80 years ago.
80 years?
Sure. Joe Sam's well over 100, or so he claims. Ain't that right, you crazy old fool?
Kurt, you shouldn't talk to him like that.
Yeah, he don't hear it. He don't hear nothing when he gets like this. But don't you worry, little lady. I'm going to bring you back a panther skin all the same. May not be black and may not be big as a horse. But it'll make a real nice present from your brother-in-law to the bride and the groom. Providing, of course, that it works out that way.
Providing what works out that way?
Providing I am your brother-in-law and Hal is the groom.
I don't like that kind of talk, Kurt.
Talk never did a gal no damage, did it? Time to go. How about a little kiss to keep me warm out there, huh?
Kurt, no. Don't.
Ah, come on, honey. Arthur. What's the matter with him?
Arthur.
Shut up, you.
Arthur.
I told you to shut up.
You're an old man like that.
Ah, he's crazy. Somebody had to snap him out of it. Well, I'm off. Maybe I get that kiss when I bring you back your panther, huh?
I don't care if I never set eyes on you again the rest of my life.
Only it wasn't me she wasn't going to see again for the rest of her life. Because when I got back to the canyon, I found my brother Arthur laying in the snow, and 3 deep gashes in his back like the stabs of a knife, and his neck was broke. And all around him was the track of the cat. I lashed him across the saddle as gentle as I could, and I hit the horse in the rump to send him back home. Then I set out to track the cat. It was easy at first. With the bare paw snowshoes, the trail good and clear, and the weather lifted. Then in the late afternoon, I saw him. The other side of a ravine. Dark and bulky, like a shadow against the snow. I had him full in my sights. I fired and I missed. He was up the rocks in 10-foot leaps and over the ridge before I could shoot again. Then I remembered something. I checked Arthur's gun. It had an empty shell in it. He'd fired at something, too, and missed. Now we both had. And then the storm come up again. And after a while, I couldn't see 50 yards ahead of me. And that was the first time I heard that other voice.
Kurt.
Who's there? Who is it?
Nobody, Kurt. Just you.
Well, who are you?
I'm the caution in you, Kurt. Maybe you never knew you had it before. I'm the coward in you.
I ain't afraid. I ain't afraid of men or cat nor spook.
Maybe. But it's getting dark, Kurt. Nightfall's coming, Kurt.
Yeah, that's so. So it is.
Better find a place to hole up for the night, Kurt. A good, safe place. While you can still see.
Well, yeah, maybe I had that. Maybe I had.
Because a man can't see in the dark, Kurt.
Who said he could?
But there's something out here that can. That can see in the dark real good. That hunts in the dark. The cat.
It was getting dark for sure. Almost the dark of night when I finally found what I was looking for. A little cave halfway up the other side of the ravine. I worked my way up to it when all at once I thought of something. The cat had holed up from the storm just the same as me. Suppose he'd holed up here. For a long time, I just stood there listening. But there was nothing but the wind and the whistle of the snow. And then, real slow, with my knees shaking a little, I crept up to it. My finger on the trigger of the gun. And I lit a match. The cave was empty. And it was dry. I crawled in. I ate some of the bread and jerky beef I'd brought along. Made a cigarette and smoked it. Then lay back. Let the tiredness go out of my bones. It was warm and cozy. I felt good. Real good. And warm. And drowsy. Kurt. Hello, Kurt. You in there, Kurt? Art, where are you? Right here, outside the cave. You can look right through the wall and see me if you try. Yeah, but what's the matter with you? Your eyes and the snow all in your face. I'm dead. Don't you remember, Kurt? Yes. And I've come to help you, Kurt. Yeah, Art. Yeah, help me. Listen, you hear? The cat. It's sniffing out there. It's right outside the wall. Look close and you can see him. Can you see him now? Yeah, black. It's black and big as a horse. Eyes like coals of fire, but he can't get through the wall, Art. He don't know how to get through that wall. That's why Joe Sam's here. Joe Sam? See him? See him out there on the slope? You see him laughing? Art, you tell him! You tell the cat about the wall! Don't let him, Art! Don't let him! Too late, Kurt. Arthur, help me! Help me! Too late now, Kurt. Too late. Arthur! I was lying there in the cave, and it was dark. So it was a dream. Sure, it was a dream. But was it all a dream? I listened, and then I heard something that could be... All right, suppose he was out there. I couldn't stay holed up there forever by a stinking mountain cat. I reached over for my rifle, and then I bent my knees up, and I kicked out with all my might. And the wall went flying out into the ravine, and I was crouching there with the rifle. And there was nothing. No cat. No tracks. Nothing.
Better head for home, boy. You've got daylight now. Head while the heading's good.
I can't do that! I swore I'd get that cat!
You've got a long way to go, Kurt.
I swore. For Art. And I promised Gwen when I tell Gwen.
You have enough on your hands just getting back before it's dark again.
Well, I sure hate to give it up, though.
What's the matter with you? Don't you know yet?
Know what?
You're not hunting that cat anymore. That cat's hunting you.
I laced on the bear paws and I started down the ravine. It was still snowing, but I could see pretty good now. I'd taken my directions the night before, down the ravine, up the other side, half a day north along the ridge, then down the other side, and keep going until you see the ranch. I was making pretty fair time. I figured it was just about midday when I seen the sun break through a hole in the clouds way off to my right. And then I stopped, because there was something wrong. Awful wrong.
What's it doing up there, Kurt? What's the sun doing up there?
I don't know. It can't be.
You're supposed to be going north.
Sure I am. Half a day north along the ridge, then down the other side, sure.
The sun's on your left when you travel north, Kurt.
Oh, and it's on my right. A whole half a day I've been going the wrong direction. A whole half a day.
You're going to be caught out after dark again, Kurt. You're going to be caught out after dark. That's all he's waiting for, Kurt. Waiting for the dark.
I can't get caught out. I gotta make it.
Never. You'll never make it.
What'll I do? What am I gonna do?
Run. Keep running.
I can't run much more.
Think of something. Think.
I can't think.
Think of fire. A fire.
Yeah, if I only had a fire.
That's it, a fire.
That's it, a fire. That'll hold Mr. Black Cat. Afraid of fire, ain't you, you murdering devil? That'll hold you. A fire. A great big roaring fire. It's all right now. It's going to be all right. I got branches cut enough to last all night. Nothing to do now but take it easy and feed the fire. He's out there in the trees somewhere, but he won't come near this fire. No, sir, he won't. Just keep smoking. Keep yourself awake. Keep your eye on that fire. Just watch the fire. Just keep watching that fire. Too late, Kurt. Huh? Too late. Arthur! The fire's gone out. Gone out? I gotta fix it quick. Too late, Kurt. He's here. The cat. The cat. Crouching there to make you spring. You see him behind that tree, big as a horse and black as night and eyes like coal. Help me, Arthur! Help me! Son, shoot. Shoot while you still got the chance right between those burning eyes. Shoot. I'll shoot.
Too late, Kurt. You shot right through him, but he's coming at you. Throw the gun away. It's no good now, Kurt. Run. Your only chance. Run. Faster. Faster, Kurt. Don't fall. He's right behind you, Kurt. Faster. Faster. Look out. You're falling. You're falling, Kurt. You're falling.
Buried my brother Arthur the night before. And the next day we went to look for Kurt, Joe Sam and me. We found him where he'd fallen over the cliff of the canyon, all stiff and twisted in the snow. Later we went up to see what happened. You could tell he'd been running when he fell. Running away from something and afraid for his life. Only there was nothing there. No tracks except just his. Nothing.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Richard Widmark.
This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite, world's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment. Autolite is proud to serve the greatest names in the industry. That's why, during the early months of 1952, the Autolite family joins in saluting the leading car manufacturers who install Autolite products as original equipment. Our Autolite family is made up of the nearly 30,000 men and women in 28 great Autolite plants from coast to coast, and in still other Autolite plants in many foreign countries. Our family also includes more than 18,000 people who have invested a portion of their savings in Autolite, as well as 96,000 Autolite distributors and dealers in the United States and thousands more in Canada and throughout the world. Our Autolite family will salute the Studebaker Corporation on the next Autolite Suspense television program. If you live in a television area, check the day and time of Suspense on television so you'll be sure to see this program. And remember, be with us next week for another thrilling Autolite Suspense program on radio.
Next week on Suspense, our star will be Miss Linda Darnell in a story about a woman who knew her husband was trying to kill her and was powerless to stop it. A dramatic report we call A Killing in Las Vegas. In weeks to come, we shall also present Herbert Marshall and Frank Lovejoy, all on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, with music composed by Lucian Morwick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The Track of the Cat was adapted for Suspense by Sylvia Richards from the book by Walter Van Gilbert Clark. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Lee Millar, Martha Wentworth, Sharon Douglas, and Parley Bear.
Tonight's appearance of Richard Widmark was made possible through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox Studios. Mr. Widmark may currently be seen in the Technicolor production Red Skies of Montana.
And remember, next week on Suspense, Miss Linda Darnell in A Killing in Las Vegas.
This is the CBS Radio Network.